It
Well,
was
yeah,
one of
okay,
those like,
but can you really call yourself a professional streamer if you don't have some kind of like technical issues? Like if there's
yeah,
not a malfunction going on, you know, is it really a
right,
good stream?
right. You're not a pro streamer if everything goes right.
Exactly.
Oh.
Precisely the way it should be. But yeah, okay. So it was more just you just decided to you've got a big expensive computer, why not just play with a lot of really cool people?
Right.
Which
That was really the goal was to, find a community of people that played similar games to me and, have chats. And it's worked.
nice. Uh any particular reason why you chose Twitch, or was it just the most popular medium?
It was the easiest to get
Fair.
going. I used it as a platform to view most of
Mm-hmm.
the streamers I watched. It used to be Mixer, and most of them moved to Twitch, and so I was familiar with the platform. Um, and I don't like YouTube, so
Fair, fair. I'm curious. It was just one of those odd questions that like suddenly popped in my head. I'm like, oh, I wonder why he chose this one versus, well, I've talked to some people that started in Facebook. I've talked to people that are like, yeah, I stream on TikTok as well as Twitch.
I
And
forgot that Facebook had streaming.
yeah, see,
I don't log into Facebook
Renee,
much.
welcome in.
Now
I,
TikTok, I was gonna try TikTok, but the requirements to go live on TikTok are really high. You can't just go live and stream on TikTok.
you can't.
Right. You have to have a certain amount of followers or a certain amount of likes. Like they have different thing. At least it was when I first started this last year. You had to have
Mm-hmm.
like 500 followers and so much engagement per month
No
before you
kidding.
could go live.
See, I didn't even know that. That's interesting.
Yeah, so I didn't do that one because I have a personal TikTok that I use to post
Mm-hmm.
videos and things like that. And so I was gonna try and do some streaming there, and then I saw the live requirements. I'm like, I got like 60 people that follow me when I post.
It's fascinating. I have never bothered to look into TikTok to see what it would take to go live over there. I just know that there are people that do so.
It took me
And
getting COVID to download TikTok.
uh, to be fair, I just picked up TikTok within the last month or so. And I've been looking at this and I'm like, well, great. I grabbed TikTok just to be here when it shuts down.
Yep. Yeah, I was very
It's
against trying to do TikTok and have it and all that stuff. And then I got COVID in March of 2020.
right.
And so one of the first cases, and it was bad. I almost died in my kitchen. It was real bad.
Oof.
And so I was I was off work for almost 6 weeks.
Okay. Probably a
And so
miserable 6 weeks.
yeah, and I was real bored. so and so I downloaded TikTok,
Um,
and
fair. It's one of those. Mm, how? No, I don't like that. All I can say is I am glad you missed the bucket.
yes, me too.
What is why? Am I just getting some weird networking things? It's got to be networking. Don't mind me. I have a little sensor on the screen that flashes over here whenever for whatever reason, my OBS decides it wants to stop dropping frames and everything. And it always causes me like, wait, why am I dropping frames on Talk Tuesday? Because like Talk Tuesday, of all of the streams that I do, Talk Tuesday has got to be the most stablest one that there is. I mean, it's just
Right. Yes, you
it's
don't
just a
have a
little
whole lot
PNG.
of
There's not a whole lot of anything. Okay, so it's not just me. It is actively buffering for some reason.
Huh.
All right, hang on. What are you doing, you stupid thing?
I'm telling you, it's something with the internet. Last night, Zoda couldn't connect. It took like 3 tries for him to connect to me in No Man's Sky.
It's all right. We'll just kick the bit rate up. We'll tune it up a little higher. Whatever was causing the problem seems to have like stabilized itself out. I'm not seeing any more drop frames. It's kind of better now. All right. Well, then we'll see if we can't make it kind of better again. Because this really, like, there shouldn't be any reason why we're getting any kind of weird. There, like, we'll jack the bit rate up.
Yeah,
seems to be poopy for everyone. I oftentimes wonder what is going on out there in the world without being able to. So I'm a network guy, right? Like, that was my initial degree in.
I worked in that industry.
I caught that. I actually like networking, right? It's of the various things that I've dealt with over the years, networking to me has been the most fun.
I loved setting up networks, regardless of a complexity. I love setting up networks. I don't like troubleshooting when there's other people involved.
Fair. Other people do stupid things in networks.
Yeah, like when I helped network a community college building back in 2003.
Right.
And when I didn't have to deal with the professors who were all in their 70s, who they didn't want to have a computer in the room, let alone internet.
Right.
That setting it up was fun, and then doing the troubleshooting that I was contracted for 6 months was not fun.
No.
They paid really good though, so.
Well, if it pays good.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's paying good, it might be sharks nibbling on the cable, but it looks like we're no longer dipping frames or anything anymore. So whatever was causing the hiccup, it looks like it's cleared up now. Knock on wood, cross your fingers, whatever we got to do. Oh, internet gods, behave yourself.
It's the sharks chewing on the Atlantic cords.
It's fine. It's fine. I've seen worse. I've seen better too, but look, at least this is not like a typical Helldivers stream for me, which is solidly PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah, I've popped in on a couple of your Helldiver streams.
I'm like, God, there's nothing I can do to get that fixed up. Doesn't matter, no matter what I do. And it's not like I've got a little chintzy computer. No, it's some people think it's process, it's architecture difference. So like, oh, you should be running an Intel to play Helldivers, not a AMD. I'm like, it's a no.
If you were like 3 generations back, maybe, but they should have drivers for both. It shouldn't be. That shouldn't be the problem.
No, there's no way that's going to be the problem. There's no way you're going to convince me that that's the problem. As a hardware developer, as a hardware software developer, I'm going to tell you right now that sans some very specific kernel modules within a Linux operating system, most things in Windows doesn't care what OS what chipset you're running on top of. Doesn't care. Most of that hardware interaction is so abstracted away even from the software that's running on your machine that they have no idea what you're even running. There's no way for Helldivers, the game, to know if you're on an AMD or Intel. See, kitties.
Yeah, I don't think that's the problem.
I don't think that's the problem either. Um, and I don't know what the problem is because I have like the game runs. I can run the game at full graphics, and it runs butter smooth. I don't have any problems running the game.
Do you have a one PC or two PC setup
I have a one
for
PC setup.
streaming? Okay. The Do you have a Nvidia card or an AMD card for graphics?
Is Nvidia.
God, see, I was gonna say because the having a hardware card might be the trick, but that because I have an AMD card and I have noticed that on occasion, if
Mhm.
I'm playing a game that I'm trying to run at too high a graphics and there's a lot going on, that on
Mhm.
occasion I'll lose some frames.
I'm
I have
okay with the occasional frame droppage, right? Like I
right.
don't mind. It's not ideal, but honestly, you know as well as I do, anything past 30 FPS, you're not going to notice it. You're just not going to see it.
Yeah. Well, in that
It's
case,
just not
do
not a thing
Twitch
to worry about.
affiliates even get 60 frames broadcast?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I thought that was a partner thing.
No. You can get up there as long as you can stream it, you can get it, right?
Yeah.
Um, that's not the issue. The issue is that I've got a big beefy enough computer that should be able to stream that all day long. Yo, Zen, welcome in, and it won't. Like it should be
Right.
able to stream it. I'm on fiber cable. It should be able to stream it. I'm hardwired to the modem. Like there is no
There's no
reason,
reason.
none. Like I have
'Cause,
gone through everything, like every
oh,
layer to carve out like what could actually be causing the problems. And what I've come up with is it's shitty software.
I mean, that is an option. We've all
Well,
dealt with shitty software.
the other option here would be just to reinstall the Windows operating system because maybe I've got a weird squirrely installation, which I've seen that. Like we all know that you can install the same Windows copy on the same hardware 100 times, and one out of those 100 times will be something will be weird.
Yes, I've
Like
installed Windows enough.
it'll just
Yep.
break for bizarre reasons. You're like, wait, why did you didn't do that on these other guys? Same hardware specs. Now suddenly you're like, yeah, I don't know what this device driver is. You're like, really?
I dealt with that with this computer with my
Mm,
video card. It kept
right.
losing my video card drivers, my original one. I've
Oof.
upgraded since then.
Right.
And so every like third day I'd go to play a game. It's like, hey, you don't have a video card installed. It's weird because I can see things, so I clearly do. And I'd go to check it, and AMD's like, you don't get a video card. And so I'd have to uninstall and reinstall the
Oh.
driver, and they'd be good for a few days. And so I
But
reinstalled Windows, and
yeah.
all better. Yeah.
Um, hello, Zen. Yes. It's but that's Windows for you. And short of that, like that's the only other thing that I've got to do. Hi, Jillian. Welcome in. Short of doing that for my own rig here, like that's my last step, and I'm like, it's one game. I don't need to stream it that bad. Like I'm done. I have spent enough time troubleshooting this. I'm done. I'm walking away from it now. It's annoying, and that's where it sits at. So it's just one of those. I'm like, yeah, loads of
That's
other
fair.
games to play. So
Yes,
now,
that's a big struggle I have right now is that there's too many games to play.
oh, I don't think there is such a thing as too many. I think you can have too many choices. I think you can lock yourself into decision fatigue because you have managed to pile up a very impressive library worth of games, and then suddenly you're like, I don't know what to play.
Yeah,
No,
I
I
run
think
into
that's
that.
a
What do they call it, the ADHD paralysis, where I'm like, oh, I really want to play this game, and then I sit here on my computer and my desktop, and I have 6 icons looking at me, and I'm like, I really want to play all these games, and then I don't play any because I don't know what to pick.
right.
Been there.
Been there, done that. Now, so as of recently, well, let's hang on. We're deviating. We've gone off topic, but that's okay.
Oh,
That
yeah.
happens. I'm going to tell you this right now. Get used to it. We're going to drift off in and out of topics all night long.
That's okay.
It. I like to call it. It's the niceties of a Talk Tuesday. It's the variety of Talk Tuesday. It's the ebb and flow. Like there's a word for this somewhere, and my brain's like, yeah, good luck, grasp that air.
Yes, if my wife, the English teacher, were here, I could describe it to her, and she'd tell me right away what word we're looking for.
There you go. It's well, okay. I call it streamer brain is what I call it because streamer brain is a thing. It wholly exists. Smash. And I think the streamer brain is a really interesting thing because I think it's one of those. It happens because we're trying to track like 14 different things, as well as carry on like a bunch of different conversations, and so you kind of build up this short attention span while streaming because you're constantly like context switching across the board, trying to.
Yep, that makes sense.
Trying to keep up with different things.
Yeah.
Sorry, trying to decide if you should get some noms. Oh, Jillian, absolutely get the noms.
Yes,
get the nomage going.
You must stay nourished.
Noms are good. But DEF CON, your name, how'd you come up with it? As
I'm
bring
old.
us all the way back around for full circle. You're old.
So, I mean, I'm not old, but I'm old. It comes from a movie, okay? And if you were born in the 80s and grew up in the early 90s, there's a good chance you know the movie I'm talking of. It's from War Games.
How did I know you were going to go that route? Like, you're like, it's from a movie. I'm like, if he brings up War Games, I'm going to pull my hair out.
It's from War Games. Now, it is intentionally misspelled. There are two F's on purpose. And that was because there was a really old game on MPlayer back in the mid-90s. And it allowed you to put your name in, but it only took the first 4 letters of the name for what other people could see. And so when I was deciding a screen name, knowing that ahead of time, I wanted DEFF because I thought it looked better than DEFC. And so I intentionally used 2 F's for one game, and then I just stuck with
it. Well, I mean, it makes sense. I think I would have gone with the DEFF myself. That definitely would have looked cooler.
Yeah. Yep.
That's fantastic. Oh,
Yeah,
yes, I remember the movie. Would you like to play another game? Like, no, you just tried to destroy the world. Let me out. I'm done.
Yep, and of course the 01 being the highest level, so it was the highest threat level. So it was the the 9-year-old kid in me trying to be tough.
Nice. Well, it is an answer to our question. To our query. Wow, I hadn't sat down and think about like that was that movie they had the kid flying the freaking F-14. Like, who puts a kid inside of a jet plane and lets him fly? Like, knowing what I know now as an adult, later on in life, looking back on that movie, and you're like, there is no way.
Yep.
None. Not a chance. Just never going to be a thing. And Good movie, but
It was. Yep, it was.
it's fantastic. It's not the first name that we've had in here that's been based off on a movie, which I always find is really fascinating when people are like, "Yeah, it's based off from this movie," because that means that you had there was a deep enough impact that movie had left on you for that to be something that sticks around in your head. And to me, I always find those sort of things really fascinating because now we're talking about imprinting, lack of a better word, but we'll go with imprinting at this point because again, my brain's like, yeah, good luck. You don't need that word. But it's left a marking on you and your experience so much that so that you're willing to bring it up and because every time you look at that name, that's going to be there. And for everybody here listening into this, now when they see your name, that's what they're going to think about. Is this little?
Yep. I've had this screen name for 30 years. It's been a long run.
Been a very long run. 30 years. I think you've had your name probably a little bit longer than what I've had mine, or at least right on the same ballpark range. I would have to sit down and actually do math of when I made that EverQuest character.
Quest. I mean, I can't talk about I beta tested Ultima Online, so
I was right there with you on that.
yep.
I feel like a baby now. Hey, all out, welcome in. Hello, Belle. How are you? We'll get this one taken care of real quick. Drinkabell would like to know, what is your favorite flightless bird? We'll tell you, there is a right answer to the question, at least according to Belle.
Oh, I'm partial to the big giant penguins. I can't remember which one they are, but the really, really tall ones.
The emperor penguins?
Yes, that's the one.
You could have just said penguins. I think any penguins would have counted.
Okay. Yeah, the big ones are my favorite. The second is the ones the penguins that have the big eyelashes. They have like fancy eyelashes. Those are cool.
Now you're out of my area of expertise. I don't know. Well, we'll have to lean on Bell. Macaroni penguins.
Sure. I'm not sure what the name. I know the Toledo Zoo or Detroit Zoo has some, and every time we go there, we check them out.
We'll see the penguins. Oh, it's fantastic. But yeah, I remember I skipped the beta for Ultima Online. And I skipped the beta for Ultima Online mostly because I was more interested in because EverQuest, they were just talking about EverQuest coming out when Ultima went into beta.
Yeah.
And so that's where a lot of I played Ultima Online. I was just never really a big fan of those top downs like that, right?
Yeah, the isometrics.
I never could, and that was back during the day of like it was just out too, and I Diablo, back when Diablo was coming out, and the giant clusterfucks, and I never did get into those style of games very well.
Yeah, I played Ultima for a really long time. I played on the official servers, on the Great Lakes servers for a really long time, and then got real bored because there wasn't a lot of content pushed out for it, and so I moved to the custom servers, and I played on a lot of those throughout my years.
Interesting. I love tuxedo penguins. I feel like all penguins are sort of tuxedo-ish, but I think he's referring to a specific type of penguin. And I am just not penguin savvy enough for that.
The only thing I can think of is the tuxedo penguins. I would think those are your standard National Geographic photos of the penguins sliding down the ice. I would think that's a tuxedo penguin.
Without Googling it, I would have no idea.
Nope. My son probably would. He might know. He wants to be a zoologist when he grows up, so he knows about all kinds of animals.
Oh, that's fancy. A zoologist, huh?
That's what he wants.
Well, good luck then. That's a lot of schooling to be done. A lot of schooling to be done. Holy cow. Miss Keisha, we are doing well today. Miss Emma Keisha would like to know, how are you today?
I'm doing good. Had a productive day at work. I don't feel like I want to die. My throat's a little itchy. I've been working in a lot of dust. We're cleaning out part of our shop that hasn't been touched in 30 years.
Uh-huh.
And so, but outside of that, I feel pretty good today. I was excited for this, so
There you go.
a boon. So,
I always find it so much fun to have something to be excited about, right? It always makes it the time fly by, especially when you're like really excited for an upcoming event of some sorts. Because then
Yeah.
you end up in this state where like time flies by because you're just like go 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 go, completely in the
Yep.
zone. Anubis says they are a specific penguin, smaller variety that have what looks like a band or a collar around their neck. There you go. It's a specific type. Thank you for the
Okay.
clarification.
That's that's much better description than mine.
Better in my description. I didn't have one. It's a penguin. Haha. That works for a description. It's fine. It's fine. Let's see. Miss Amakisha would also like to know, what is your favorite snack?
Sweet or salty? And I'll give an answer for both, but
Just go for
they
both
have
of
to be
them. That's fine.
separated because for sweet snacks, which I'm not a huge sweet snack guy,
Mhm.
it's a tie between oatmeal cream pies and Swiss cake rolls. I can do either one of those for a sweet snack. For salty snacks, it is generally almonds. But my wife recently got me some dark chocolate sea salt almonds, which were fantastic. So that is right up there with any kind of salted nut, though. Except for walnuts, which taste like attic dust, and pecans, which taste like foot fungus. Everything else, pretty much every other nut, I'm good.
I can't stand nuts in general, so you're already doing better than I am.
No, I'm a big fan of any kind of salted. I'm much more of a salty snack person than a sweet snack. I actually have somewhere back here in my pile. I have a bag of pistachios that I've been munching on.
Yeah, I kind of go through cycles, right? Like, as of recently, I've been on a big potato chip cycle for whatever reason. So I've been snacking on a lot of Lay's potato chips.
You should get
But
better
then
made potato chips.
Huh?
Better made. I don't know if you can get those regionally or not. They're a Michigan potato chip.
Nope, can't get those there. I like the so when I go for a snack, so there's two types of mood that I got to be in when I go for a snack, right? There is the I want a snack because I need the oral fixation, which the Lay's potato chip solves that for me very nicely. And then there's the snack because I want something that because I really want a treat for myself. And whether it's salty or sweet doesn't matter, but I'm going to go a little bit more expensive. So I will go for like ice cream or beef jerky or something like that. But if I'm just looking for that oral fixation, I just need something to chew on while I'm thinking about a problem or whatnot. No, Lay's potato chips. They don't need to have any flavor. It's just salt. It's I'm just eating it so I can get salt. That's it.
I mean, that's fair. That's a good a reason as any to eat them.
There's not any other reason beyond that.
I do like Lay's potato chips, but in Michigan, it's better made or nothing.
Yeah, never. I've been to Michigan. Because I got family that's up in Michigan, but I have not been there long enough to overly sample myself through their snacks. So it's not been a thing that I've not gone there to go, ooh, what kind of potato chips you got?
Yeah.
It's usually like an overnight, hey, I'm there visiting family or whatnot, and we're in, we're out, and that's it. So trying to figure out what's the best snack, just not going to be a thing that's ever going to be big.
Probably not a high priority.
No. Okay. That's Miss Hermes Rose would like to know, if you could visit any planet without having to worry about dumb safety issues, which planet would you choose?
The basic answer is Mars, but I would probably do Venus because it's closer to Earth, and it's closer to what Earth could have been or what it may have been at one point. But there's also, I think it's a exoplanet, and I cannot think of the name of it. I have a degree in physics, and so I studied some research stuff on astrophysics, and there is a planet, I really wish I could think of the name of it, where it rains diamonds. I would go there because that'd be cool to see.
It just sounds like it would be painful.
Well, you don't got to worry. This question was phrased in a way where I don't got to worry about that. So,
well, true. I mean, if you just wanted to go there to see, hey, I know this guy. Yo, bombs away. Welcome in. I mean,
it was one of my first followers, actually.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Excellent, one would say. It's one of those, I think that's interesting. I know the planet you're talking about. I don't know the name of it.
Yeah.
I was watching, there was a space documentary I was watching that they were going through the various different planets out there. And there's a couple of planets that are within a couple light years from us that potentially would be habitable Earth-style planets. My aspect is this, right? Is honestly the accident of life happening here on Earth can't be the only place that this has happened at. So obviously this has happened somewhere else. Now, I know the further away from the center of the galaxy, the newer things are. Like if you get out towards the outer rim, it's brand new stuff is out there. So the likelihood of going further out towards the edges of the galaxy and finding intelligent life is pretty fairly slim to none. However, if you start heading towards the center, now you run the risk of potentially finding life and whatnot as that goes in, which has always been rather fascinating. You know, at what point are they even still around? Are they still kicking? Have they long since perished and died out? And what does that life look like?
Yeah, that depends on where we fall on that cosmic timeline. On if are we the middle child? Or, because if we're the middle children, we could go either direction and maybe find somebody.
God, if we're the middle children, we're all just little brats. That's.
I mean, you met humanity? Just just put that out there.
Just saying. Have you met us yet? It true, right? Well, you got to figure we're somewhere along. I would say we're somewhere. We're definitely not in the beginning of it, because there's no way we're that close to the center of the universe.
No.
We're far enough out. And that's the other question I have is it just one universe? Is there multi-universes? Do we live in parallel galaxies on a big multi-dimensional matrix array of anyways? Well, those are questions.
How deep you want this to go?
Like, oh wait, yeah, we could end up in quantum physics here very quickly. Let's stop. Let's stop before I make myself look dumb. It's fine. But I always wondered, though, we quantify life. We have a tendency to quantify life. The people looking for it. Usually most people expect life to look something like us. Right? Or something like what we've seen on this planet. However, there's nothing saying that life has to look exactly like that. I'm curious because they've started to find like signs of water and whatnot on Mars itself, right? Which means that it potentially could have had signs of life there. And curiosity is, okay, well, what kind of life happened there? And I figure at some point we'll end up going to Mars. Whether or not we'll come away from it, I don't know. But we'll end up going to Mars, and do we excavate and look for buried civilizations there? Because I think at one point Mars was said that it could have almost had a habitable habitation zone. Like Mars was the next planet that was in that same sort of Goldilocks zone that our Earth is in.
Yeah, the one thing that kind of threw Mars off in terms of why it probably couldn't sustain life on a long term is it doesn't have a stable axis because it doesn't have a good moon. It has two kind of proto moons,
right?
But because it doesn't have as stable of an axis, it's hard to have repetitive seasons, which you need to have something like that in order to have a good sustainable evolutionary track. Like you need to have big chunks of time where everything can stay alive for a while. Otherwise, you're just resetting all the time.
Right.
If you get bacterial life and you get up to some complex stuff, and then all of a sudden everything gets super hot or super cold and everything dies off. If you get back to that point where it can start again, you're starting fresh. Whereas Earth hasn't had as much of that.
You need a lazy season.
Right.
Yeah. Well, but okay, but that's assuming that life grows and works the way we think it does. Like there are very hardy bacterial that have survived in like really hostile environments. That's true. According to us, should never have happened, but they're still down there kicking around, right?
With those lava snails that have iron shells, there just shouldn't be a thing that exists, which are super cool.
Yeah. There's the freaking little teddy bears.
Yes.
The one-cell teddy bears. Those things like live everywhere, and
yep, and they can live in space because we found them on our satellites, still alive.
Yeah. And kicking. So I think the like in cases like that, it's fair to say that, yeah, as far as our understanding of life goes, these are the things that we think should have to happen. But we're constantly learning new things every year, every decade, every tardigrades. Thank you. I was like, what is it? My brain? I'm like, I just space teddy bears. That's all I could think of. Thank you, Anubis. I knew somebody was smarter in chat than I was.
Those biology folks.
But it's one of those, like, we have theories, we have suspicions, and we operate on them until we're proven wrong. And I always find it fun to be proven wrong, because I get a chance to learn something.
You generally learn more from being wrong
Just have different
than you
niches.
do from being right.
Yeah. Well, and what was there was that study, it was on LinkedIn about no, that was a different study. Never mind. Fixing to go off in a completely weird direction. Let's not do that. Say we did. But Venus or Mars? Interesting. See, I'd have gone to Pluto.
Yeah, or the planet that rains diamonds.
Or the planet that rains diamonds, yeah.
Pluto's not a bad choice.
I still would go to Pluto.
Is Pluto a planet? That's
look, I tell you what, I grew up, Pluto was a planet. The fact that it decided to get downgraded after, it's been a planet for this many, no, it's still a planet.
I always like to start that debate.
The dog star. It's a very large asteroid, and there's nothing saying that it wasn't at one point a much larger planetoid that could have been a planet and has just been, beaten since it's on the edge of our galaxies. We don't know what careens into that thing all the time.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And it doesn't have a big protector like we do. Like Jupiter.
No.
Jupiter grabs most of the things that would fly in to impact Earth. A lot of that gets swept up by Jupiter, and it doesn't have a big brother out there to kind of grab that stuff.
Exactly. Right. So it's, I would say it's a planet. I think it started out as a planet. I think we have reclassified it because we've gotten better technology that has been able to reach it. And so we got a second glance at it and we're like, oh, it's not really that big. But I think at the same token, I think it may have taken a lot of beatings between now and when we decided to declassify it. So I'm still going to call it a planet. Just because it's been beaten to an inch of its celestial. I mean, I could be wrong. Now I gotta, okay, that's a mental note. Go look up definitions of planets, because I'm curious now as to the actual specific, like, okay, this is what classifies as a planet. It could have been that Pluto has never been a planet. It's always been an asteroid, and somebody misclassified it because they're like, oh, look, it's a big giant rock out there. That's a planet. Oh, wait. We have rules for naming planets.
I think that's what happened. I think it was initially observed as hey, this is a big rock that has a steady orbit. All the other big rocks that have steady orbits are planets. It's a planet.
Well,
and then we defined, hey, planets are these things. And we look back at it and we're like, maybe it's not one of those things.
Oh, here, look, we're getting the definition. A planet must do three things. It must orbit a star. It must be big enough to have enough gravity to force a spherical shape, and it must be big enough that its gravity cleared away any objects of similar size near its orbit.
I wonder if that last one's the problem. I wonder if there are other things within the Kuiper Belt.
I don't know.
Have similar size.
It has not cleared the neighborhood around its orbit, and it is not a moon. So
that's why it's a dwarf
planet. But look, it's still as a dwarf. It's just look right there in the name, planet.
It does say planet in the name. You are correct, sir. It does say planet in the name.
It's fine. I'll show you a Kuiper Belt. Exactly what what Father's planet said to his misbehaving little wayward orbit. Orbitoid, whatever. I had a joke there. It was gone. As soon as I opened my mouth to say it, it just disappeared. It's fine. We did that one. Your God Numis would like to know what were some of the gateway or childhood interests that you had that introduced you to in your current interest. I guess what got you started in like some of your hobbies.
God, I have so many hobbies. My interest in computers. Let's start there because that's what we're focused on. My interest, the thing that got me
Sure.
into computers and into video games, surprisingly enough, was my dad was a truck driver, and
Mm-hmm.
he delivered a delivery of new computers to IBM in California, and they were throwing
Okay.
away their old office computers, just throwing them in dumpsters. And this is the early '90s, and we were super poor. And he was like, "What are you doing with these?" And they're like, "We're throwing them away." And he's like, "Can I take them?" And they're like, "Once they leave the office, we don't care what happens to them." And so
Right.
he loaded up 8 or 9 of them into his truck and brought them home. And most of them were just crap little office, late '80s office computers. They
Mm-hmm.
had two 5.5-inch floppy disks, 3.5-inch monochrome green monitor built in, and that was the whole machine. And it
Yep.
was about 3 foot long, 8 inches tall, and 2.5 foot deep. Weighed
Yeah.
90 pounds. But he brought them home, and he sold.
Solid bricks.
Yes, yeah. He sold some of them to some people that he knew that were kind of looking for something for a few bucks, and then
Mm-hmm.
he left. We kept one, and he was basically, "Hey, if you don't want to be me and have to work super hard physical labor your whole life for pennies, learn this. This is the future." And so
Right.
I did. That's where that started, and it kind of held my interest for a long time. And so, I used it.
Well,
We had an old Top Gun game and a couple of old text-based RPGs that we found for it. And um, as for my
it was.
non-computer hobbies,
Mm-hmm.
the ADHD leads me in many directions. There's so many hobbies. I have sheds worth of partial hobbies. But the two that I've stuck with the longest are blacksmithing and mead making.
I was gonna say I know at one point we got into a conversation. I think it was in Discord, maybe about your mead.
Yep, I make
You have to run,
mead.
but have an amazing talk. Take care, Jillian. You lovely thing.
Yes, I make mead and I make knives. I make a lot more mead than I make knives because knife making is very difficult, whereas mead making is super easy.
Yeah, I was gonna say knife making is not nearly as easy as they make it look like on Forged in Fire. Like there's
It's not.
those guys just like bang out. I'm like, there is no way you're doing it like that at home like that. That's not.
No, if you and those people are master blacksmiths. Like they might come on and be like, "Oh, I do this part time." Yeah, you've done it part time for 25 years. There's way.
uh, yes, Greenie, mead like as an
Yes,
alcohol drink.
yes, alcohol mead made from honey. But yes,
And
I'm a
go ahead.
smith and a mead maker.
So there
Those
you go. If you need a hot iron and alcohol, and then go talk to DEF CON.
yes, they're my apocalypse survival skills, so that I can stay within the groups because everyone needs those things.
Oh yes, everybody needs to have their end of the world survival skills. Um, I took up forestry, so and medical.
Very good skills to have.
So I can pick you up off the ground and I can stitch you back. I figure they're useful.
Yeah, that's a good skill to have. Um, I've had to stitch myself up a couple of times. I have a lot of survival skills. I was very obsessed shortly, like right around my teenage years,
Mm-hmm.
right after high school, 17, 18. I was very obsessed with the idea of just wilderness survival stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so the summer I turned 18, after I graduated high school, I spent 28 days in the backwoods in Michigan by myself, just surviving off things that I killed and cooked and out in the northern woods of Michigan because it was
There you
fun.
go. Sadly, I don't think dwarf is there, but maybe dwarf and maybe he's one of those mystical half elf, half dwarfs. Um, it's fine. Interesting. Yeah, I know I knew you did the mead bit. Do you have a particular favorite recipe that you do?
Yes. I have two. I have one that's my favorite, and then I have one
Mm-hmm.
that is everybody else that's had my meads their favorite. My favorite is cherry cranberry. I have a cherry cranberry mead that I make. I've made it, I don't know, half a dozen times,
Mm-hmm.
and easily my favorite mead. Everyone else likes my apple. Everybody else that has my mead, with the exception of some of my family members who like a mead that I thought tasted so bad, I couldn't even drink it, and they all loved it. But for the most part, everyone likes my apple. That's the mead that everyone else seems to really, really enjoy. But my favorite is cherry cranberry.
Well, you said it. Now I've got to ask the question: what was this mead that was so terrible that you couldn't stand, but everybody else thought was great? Because
Um, it was made from a tea base called campfire tea, which is just filled with a lot of spices and berries and things like that. Um,
oh,
I'm
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
a big tea
no,
guy. I'm a big tea guy as well. Um, and I make a lot of my own handcrafted tea blends. And so
hmm
I made one and then I brewed it really strong and then I made mead out of it. And it tasted like brandy that was aged inside a leather boot.
oof.
And for anyone who can um kind of if you can taste sounds, the words I speak, that's the closest description. I thought it was disgusting. But
Yeah,
all
I
of
knew.
my family, my parents and my brother and stuff, they drank get the entire gallon. I took all 5 bottles to them and they drank it all.
Hey, you know what? More power to them. Here you go. Have yourself.
Yep.
You
Yep.
obviously have no taste.
I, if I make something people enjoy, I guess that's the goal.
But true. Like, I mean, as a meat maker, right? Obviously, you want to make something that people enjoy.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, it just brandy brewed in leather shoe. Like I've had some. Um, I would almost call that like peaty almost. I've had some really just bad scotch and yeah. When it starts tasting like the shoe leather, that's I'm kind of done.
Yeah. I'm not big on scotch. I'm not big on scotch because I'm poor. Not poor. I'm too poor to drink scotch. Because the scotch I like is expensive.
I was like, okay,
And not to say
I don't
there's
know
not good
anybody
cheaper
that's.
scotch. But the scotches that I've tried that I can afford, I don't like. And then the scotches I've tried that I do enjoy, I can't afford.
Fair. That is definitely a fair.
I do like bourbon though, because I'm a big fan of oak flavors.
I and this might just be me, but I used to work for a sawmill, so we used to. I'm used to smelling all the various different wood types, and people are like, "I love a good hickory smell." You want to know what hickory? It smells disgusting to me. It's like no hickory and juniper. People love juniper. Juniper is like smelling a pet store. I swear to God. Like juniper, cedar, like the whole lot of those. It's just the inside of a pet store, and
I
I
like
can't. I
gin.
cannot.
No, I'm okay with juniper. I like gin. I grew up with wood heat, so I also know the smell of the burning. I can identify a lot of woods
From
when they're
burning. Yes.
burned
Yes.
because we grew up with wood heat because we were poor, and so we had wood heat because it was free. And
Yeah.
we cut all of our own wood and processed all of our own stuff, and
Yeah. 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 There's nothing wrong with that, right?
it got us by.
I'm just, yeah. I'm used to smelling the wood when it's just come out of the woods. It's been chopped up. They've put it through
Mhm.
the grindstone, and so they've sheared it and they've sawed it, and so it's just sawdust everywhere. And so that's
Oh,
what you're smelling is the fresh sawdust wood, and that sawdust, depending on whether or not they keep the blades lubricated
mhm.
enough, will tend to scorch a bit of the sawdust because it gets really hot. And so, like being in the sawmill, all you smelt was wood all day long, and the wood was in various states of fresh to burning.
Yeah, I can see how that would
And that's
taint
all you
your
smell all day
yeah,
long.
how it would taint your perception of those woods. Because I smoke meat too. I have a smoker, and hickory is a big smoking. I don't use hickory when I smoke meat because I think
Sir,
it's super
sir, sir,
basic.
down boy, no more. You've like touched everything that's like, sir's like, check, check, check. You want to just move in? Let's go. You've hit his favorite alcohol, mead. You're a blacksmith. He's already speaking to his LARPing side.
Yep.
And you're
Yeah.
like, yeah, smoked
I
meats. Oh God, here.
I have multiple Renfest costumes. I mean, just
All right, sir. We're just gonna send them to you. Never mind. You can have them. It's fine. Liam. Might be, was that rent fair? yeah. See, already serves complete interest.
yeah.
It's fine. Liam would like to know if you have ever traveled, what was your favorite travel location, and if you haven't, where would you like to go as a dream
Ireland.
destination?
Ireland was my favorite.
Ireland.
My wife and I went to Europe in 2013, and we went to Germany, England, Ireland, Italy, and Greece. And of those, Ireland was my favorite, followed very closely by Athens. I didn't think I was gonna like Athens aside from the history because I'm a nerd and I love history, and Athens has thousands of years of history. Outside of that, I'm not a huge fan of hot weather, and so I was like, I don't know, it's Athens in July. Do I really want? But it wasn't. It really was. I was surprised. It was amazing. The people were awesome. Those are my two favorite places I have been is Ireland and Greece. Future travels, I would love to go to Russia at a time where it's safer to go to Russia. Again, for the history of it. I think Russia has a lot of history. And I would love to go to Egypt. Those are the two places I would like to go see as well.
It's interesting you say Russia because I used to work with some Russians in a job of that I used to in a software development job I had, and they honestly could not be happier to be out of Russia.
Visit. I don't want to live there, but I would like to visit. But as with most middle-aged white men, I have an interest in World War II. And so there's a lot of World War
Fair.
II history with Russia. I also grew up with games like Medal of Honor and Call of Duty back when it was World War II and Battlefield 1942 and things like that. So.
Right. Fair. Yeah. No, Zerb also says if you ever find your way in UK, you've got a place to stay if you need it.
We did go to London, and I liked London as a city. Aside from that, it was really, really dirty. Um, environmentally wise, like every day we get back to the hostel and you're just blowing like it looks like snot out of your nose the whole night. Um, but we didn't. I wanted to go to Scotland when we were there, and we just didn't have time.
I think so. Here's the thing, right? I think London is on that list of other big cities, right? I think generally there is the romantic view of like London, New York, Tokyo. There's these romanticized views of these locations, and the reality of them is that they are exactly what they are meant to be. They are a large city with a lot of people. It's a very big, noisy, dirty mess. That's what they are. Um, like for me, I want to go visit like Scotland, Ireland, Sweden, UK,
Sweden, nice.
right? But I want to get out to all those places to go see them, but I don't want to go to I'm going to go to UK, and I'm not going to go to I don't want to even be near London. Like don't no. I take me to the outside fringes. So let's go to the north. Let's go to the south. Let's go to the small towns. Let's go visit the countrysides. Like, that's where I want to go.
That's what we did when we went to Ireland. we stayed in Dublin, but we had a day where we took like a bus tour, and we went out to just these super old ruins, and it's just tiny little towns. And like we had lunch at this town, which was like 6 buildings and a road, and that was the whole village.
Hey, yeah.
And they had pot roast. That was amazing.
That's the places that you want to go visit. Now, granted, I say that knowing full well that I have every intention and every plan to go to Japan at some point in time and go to Akihabara. I know it's going to be dirty, nasty, and everything else, but I'm going there. Goddamn it! I will go to a maid cafe. The only reason to go there.
This is why my wife is the best wife, because she comes in and she brings me a Ferrero Rocher dark hazelnut with crunchy salted caramel candy.
Wow. Just strolls right on in. Here, bring you chocolates. My. Liam, when we make it out that way, I will let you know when I'm in the area. But yeah, like that's kind of the plan, right? Is to I want to be able to go around and see places, but I don't want to go to I don't want to go to the big cities. Like I've done big city living. I don't care about big city. I want to go to the towns. I want to go to the small little countrysides. I want to sit down with the locals and let them tell me about their lousy winters that they have.
See, that's how we picked our restaurants. Like even when we were in Dublin, we just stopped some people on the street and we're like, "Hey, we're Americans and we want to get real, like not touristy Irish food. Like if you guys were gonna go for like a Saturday brunch, where would you go?" And they give you the name of some restaurant that's in the hole in a wall down some alley, and you get a bucket of boiled mussels, and that was what we had, and it was fantastic.
That's the real food. That's the stuff that you want to get your hands on.
Yes.
Like that's what I'm interested in doing. Like if I'm going traveling, that's what I'm there for. I'm there for the local experience, not the sure, it's shit. Shite. It rains mostly bites home, right? It'd be fun. Always sit there and have just a bloody brilliant conversation with me. It's all right. It still would be a good time. Like that to me is what traveling is about. Let me just go and meet people and chat with them and and whatnot. Like, yeah, I'm planning on going to Sweden. We're going to go to Sweden because a friend of ours, Mr. Waggleton and Emma Keisha, who popped in here, they live in Sweden. I'm like, that's
Oh,
the big reason to go to Sweden. Is we're going to go visit them. I'm not going to go sightseeing around Sweden. Could go sightseeing around Sweden. Don't care to go sightseeing around Sweden. We're going to go say hi to Wags and Keisha. That's
right.
it. We've got friends there. Well, I want to go see the friends.
I'm gonna go see Zoda in April, actually.
Yes, I know. He was telling us about that. He's a little excited about that.
So I have a business meeting down there and have the evening off because I couldn't get a flight home on Tuesday that didn't cost an arm and a leg. So
There you go. Well, just between you, me, and the flag post. Now, I didn't say this to you, but Zoda might have fangirled just a little bit on the prospect of being able to take you out to dinner. Uh,
yeah, we talked a little bit on the stream last night trying to figure out where to go, and I'm the least picky eater on the planet, and so I will eat anywhere.
okay. Get a good steak. That's all I had to say. Just make certain that he gets you a good steak. Green Emerald would like to know if you were ever isekai to a world of swords and magics and you can get 5 gifts and or skills, what would it be and why?
That's the isekai. That's the where you get teleported, right? It's the
Yes.
okay. I'm not always privy to the new kid lingo.
Isekai is a lingo that's been was developed and used in anime. That's where
Oh, I
people.
don't
That's
watch
where
it.
you're either run over by a truck coon, and killed, and you're
Okay.
reincarnated into a new world, or you get summoned, or in
Maybe
some of
why I
them
don't.
they just went to sleep and woke up in a strange world. Like it just kind of
Okay,
depends, right?
that'd be why I don't watch anime, so that would be why I don't catch that reference. Um, 5 gifts. If it has magic, I definitely want to have magic. Uh, that seems like a no-brainer. Being able to just do. So, like, if I were to be teleported into your standard D&D world,
Yeah,
I would
that's
want
a
to
good.
be that. Yeah, if I could be teleported into that, I
Mhm.
would definitely want to be a sorcerer. And I don't know if I would need any other gifts besides that, especially if I could come back. If I'm stuck there, it's I need to have a way, gift of money and things of that nature. But if I'm just going there and being able to come back, just give me magic. That's all I need.
Most cases, the isekai is usually one direction. So
Yeah. See, now if it's one direction, that's a whole other ball game because you gotta find a way to sustain yourself. And so
yep.
I would need to have the knowledge of the world itself. I need world history of where I'm at. Um, knowledge of the things that I can eat and can't eat. Uh, the language. I want to be able to know all the languages. That seems like a super important skill to have, especially for a guy like me that talks a lot. Um, and so, yeah, magic, language, knowledge of the world, knowledge of whatever's dangerous. I don't know if I could find a 5th one aside from just money. The ability to support myself at least to get going. That would be what I would need in a fantasy world like D&D.
Right.
No brainworms. I don't want any of
No
those.
brain worms. Yeah. No.
No,
No. No.
none of
No. No.
those.
At least nothing that goes through the eyeballs. I
Oh.
watched that startup over that game so many times.
So a
Hey,
squirrel came
squirrel.
in just at the right time.
That's Squirrel's luck.
Well,
Squirrel has a solid talent for showing up right when either I am telling a story about her, or something disgusting is being discussed about, and is going to make Squirrel go, oh, why did I come in, and have regrets. Like,
yeah.
that's pretty par for the course for Squirrel. And of course, because she always comes in when I'm in the middle of telling a story, we haven't talked about Squirrel the entire time. And somebody's like, oh,
Right.
yes, let's hear this story about Squirrel. That's when Squirrel shows up. So as far as Squirrel's ever been concerned, all I ever do is run my mouth about her.
Yep. The whole time. It's nothing but trash talk.
To be fair, I have done that a time or two. But like, I never get away with that. But yeah, being East Kite, so like, you know, making money would definitely be like, you could have starting funds. I think, you know, anybody could like, yes, I would like some starting funds. Sure, here you go. I think that's a viable. Magic is a pretty typical. Most people are like, I want to do magic, which I always find interesting, right?
I think it's the draw because we can't do magic, and at least I can't do magic. Well,
okay, but I would say that we do magic all the time, right? If you look at we got computers, we're talking to each other from halfway across the room through crystal balls.
We're talking through rocks with lightning in it. You are correct. We're talking through rocks with lightning.
So I give me a great accent, a bag of 1,000 ball bearings, and I'm golden. 1,000 ball bearings. Yeesh, that just sounds painful. Like, all I was like, just watch me work. Just give me 1,000. Thank you very much. And now I will, you know, we're going to turn this battlefield into the world's largest slip and slide while I cut off heads. Nice and easy.
It's diabolical right there. I'm here for it. Totally supportive.
Like, yeah, I mean, but it's fair, right? So yes, I wanted to be able to do magic. Magic is good. I would say start studying with Zoda.
Yep.
But you're already doing that now.
We are.
You hang out with Zoda every Monday night.
Monday night. We had to experiment with the stream together feature last night, which worked really well. Once we got everything kind of working, it worked really well. The shared chats worked really well, and
nice. Yeah, the shared chats is a fun new feature. My biggest headache I have with the shared chat is the lack of being able to identify, because they've literally plugged the chats in together.
Yeah.
It's the laziest methodology for doing that, right?
Yeah, there's no way to differentiate who's in whose chat from when they chat.
Yeah. And because you don't have that level of distinction or separation, right? When you have established streamers who have their own like little bots for helping, like, you know, I use Firebot for the time being.
We ran into that last night actually with Zoda, is that the Firebot doesn't work in the stream together.
The Firebot does work in the stream together. It just works for both stream togethers.
Oh, we couldn't even get it to work last night. My stream elements worked. The stream elements command worked in my chat window, but not in his chat window.
Well, that's the thing, because you're not a moderator in his chat.
Right.
So for him, Firebot would have just ignored your requests coming through. Like, that's just the behavior of Firebot. I say this because last week during my Valheim stream, I had Tom Lock-in with me. And I run Firebot. He runs Mix It Up. Both of ours were working just fine in the stream together. In fact, I would fire off a shout out command. It was the same shout out command in his. And so his Firebot would yell at me saying, I don't have mod rights in his channel to do that. And my Firebot would yell at his Mix It Up saying that you don't have mod rights to do that over here in my chat. Like, to me, that's a bad deal. Like that's not a good integration of the two chats because we have two different sort of people stomping on each other. And even if you take the bots out of the equation, right? You just sit down and you go, okay, we're going to have real mods doing all the shout outs. Even the mods can't moderate for the other channel.
Well, they fixed that actually.
Did
That
they
was one
finally
thing that-
fix that?
Yeah, that you have cross mod capabilities, at least when it comes to banning people, because we tried that last night. A bot came in to my chat.
Mhm.
Of course, it's shared chat, but Zoda was able to ban them, and it deleted the message in both independent chat windows.
Yeah, we're talking deleting, and that's fine. But if
Yeah.
you do there are like the specific shout out commands and other such commands in there.
Oh yeah,
Those
yeah.
don't cross pollinate, and you'll get the error kickback. Like there's still a lot of work that needs to go into that. I think what they decided to do is, hey, we can stitch this together. And what they've done is they literally stitched the two chat channel rooms into one global room.
Yeah.
And I just figured everything would work fine, and it doesn't. Yeah. You can tell on the PC, but I'm talking about more at a programmatic on the back end. Like
Yeah, I get
how
what
they
you're
did
saying.
it.
Yeah, where their ones and zeros are.
Yes. Like how they decided to piece this global chat together. It's a good thing. Don't get me wrong. I am not saying what they did was bad. I'm just saying they did it in the most laziest way possible, and that is we'll just stitch the two rooms together, and there you go, joint chat, have fun.
Which, coming from corporate America, makes exactly the kind of thing I think they would do.
To me, it's the minimum viable product to carve out a win. Right? Hey, look, we made global chat between two streamers that are streaming together doing a collab. Great. Well, we could do this the right way, which involves laying out all the permission structures and everything else. And then taking both channels and then streaming them to a third channel. And in that way, everybody's permissions are respected, right? So what you could do is you could do processing for the channel on the individual channels itself, but do the rendering to the shared chat on a third separate channel altogether.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So your bot, my bot, our bots could still manage our local channels, and the effects would still be propagated forward to the third channel.
Right. Yeah.
Now you don't have all those permissions and the collision happening at the channel level. On top of that, if something bad happens in your channel, you get bot attacked. It only affects your channel.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
Upper management says, no. That's how long is it going to take to make that feature? Oh, it'll take 3 months to make that feature. Right. So how fast can you actually get that done? Well, we could stitch it together. How long does that take? Oh, that'll take 2 weeks. We're going to do that instead. And now you have a minimal viable product because they wanted to get a win to show that, hey, look, we're doing something. Welcome to corporate America.
I was going to say, yay, corporate America.
So again, not a bad thing. Just, I know why they didn't do it.
Yeah, it's one of those. I think if they continue to develop it, it'll be a really good feature, because I think it's especially important for when you have smaller streamers. It's easier to get exposure when you have a larger viewer count, and by being able to collab with 3 or 4 other, if you have a group of 4 people all who average 10 or 12 people, because they combine all the viewership, the discovery page puts you at 45 or 50 viewers.
Yes.
On the discovery page. And so hopefully they continue to develop it, because I think it'll make it easier for smaller streamers who are in it for community. Because if you're not looking to build community and you're just out trying to solo it, it's not helpful.
Right.
But if you're somebody who's looking for it, it could be helpful.
It could be helpful.
if they continue to
Uh,
develop it, which who knows?
who knows?
It
Well,
depends if it makes the money.
I think the idea of collaboration is it's a fairly important tool. I would say it's a fairly important tool even for like bigger streamers as it is for smaller
Hmm.
streamers. Because that's again as you grow, right? As your community grows, as your number of people watching you grows and everything else, there's always going to be those platforms where you know eventually to get to the next level I've got to do something different.
Right.
Collaboration works out really nice because it's a nice way for two people to get to that next level together because now you can intermix them, which is fantastic. On the other side of that coin too, there is a slight problem with that because if you're not collaborating with people outside of your normal circle, then you're not really taking advantage of what that collaboration is supposed to help you do.
True.
It's still a good thing to do, and it's still loads of fun, and a lot of people are still going to collaborate with inside their own circles because it's a lot of fun. I would be chief among those people. I would be like, yes, no, I will always collaborate with Zoda on something. I will always jump into a game with Squirrel on something. I won't think twice about it.
Yep.
But for the collaboration tool to really be good and successful, to really take you to that next level, eventually you got to get to the point where, okay, I need to go collaborate with, I don't know, what we're going to say, John Denver over here.
Right.
And go do a thing with John Denver. And then that tool really helps out because now it stitches both sides of that conversation piece together. And so then everybody's talking. Upsides or downsides, you could have both in there. Like it could go one or two ways on that, but you never know till you try. Hello.
Yes. This is the tiniest of the tiny humans in my
Tiny
house.
human. Welcome in. Welcome in. Let's see. It's a little DEF CON. That's right.
Yes.
No double F. They're just a single F. You got to grow up and graduate to get that second one, or do really bad at school. Bombs Away would like to know, what is your favorite childhood food you still eat as an adult?
I was poor, and I really like to reiterate, I was the type of poor where we didn't have power and water in the house all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a lot of good memories with childhood foods, um, because we didn't have a lot of. We had boiled chicken most nights. That was our standard meal was
Hey.
boiled chicken. I don't eat boiled chicken. I don't eat mac and cheese for the same reason. Um, the one I guess I don't want to call it guilty pleasure food that I still have is I will still throw a bowl of ramen in the microwave with the 900 milligrams of sodium flavor packet and some garlic, um, every once in a while. That would be the closest thing I have to a childhood food that I used to eat that I still eat is
Mm-hmm.
on occasion I will grab one of those just terrible for you ramen packets and be like, yeah, this is what I need. A little bit of butter, some garlic, and then that giant pack of sodium. Mm. Yes, buddy.
Yeah, we grew up on an awful lot of rice and boiled chicken growing up
Yep,
as
we
kids.
had lots of rice. Rice was a big staple. I do still like rice. I don't cook it. Well, I don't cook hardly at all. My wife cooks because she's way better at it than I am. Um, but when she cooks rice, she doesn't cook it the way that we had it growing up. So
Right.
better. It's cooked better. So
So much better.
yeah, so
Can
much
we
better.
go on record with that? Yes,
Yes.
my wife cooks much better than I do. Okay, got it. uh,
I don't know. It's a puzzle. My son's gonna take over doing the puzzle.
Heck, you know. Whatever floats his boat. It's not the run around and shoot him up. I recognize the voice from some of your clips there,
Yes.
your videos.
Yep.
He would be the partner in crime for your Fortnite adventures.
Yes, my daughter on some of them, but yes, he's the one who won his first game ever of Fortnite when he played last year or 2 years ago.
Oh, nice.
No,
Got
the first
hooked in
game he
it
ever
that way,
played,
huh?
he won. Yep. But he doesn't play that one as much anymore. He's a big Minecraft player. Not saying blah, blah, blah.
That's a Goat Simulator.
Yes, he has gotten on the Goat Simulator 3 as well.
Goat Simulator. Oh, right. I haven't really played that one too much. I'm trying to think
Yeah,
if I even. Yeah, no, I don't think I have jumped on that bandwagon very well for that one. Though honestly, and I'm guilty pleasure, I would love to see Squirrel play Squirrel with a Gun.
I said the first time I saw the ad for it, I saw the ad on something and she happened to be streaming. So I ran into her stream, asked if she had looked at it.
I would just laugh myself silly over that one, just watching Squirrel play Squirrel with a Gun. I remember when it came out, there was in the Discord, I got several messages about this game when it first came out. Oh, you tried it? Oh, I missed it.
Missed it.
Gives you the woozies. Oh, that's terrible.
Oh no.
It would have been so good listening to her just running around. Sa, sa, pow, 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 pow. Squirreled away.
Oh, okay. You didn't play on stream. That's.
Learn to test stream before. Yeah, fair. You know, it's fair. Still would have been funny.
That's why I don't play VR games.
It's a shame. I don't play VR games just because I actually can't see in a VR.
Really?
Well, so I only see out of one eye at a time. So
that could make VR games really hard.
It's extremely hard to play.
And it's not all VR games, but I played a flight simulator, Ace Combat.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Totally fine. No issues at all with it. Played the Resident Evil game, played for 45 seconds and felt like I was going to get sick.
I think some games do a much better job of wrangling in.
I think it's the bouncy motion that you get in the walking games that threw me off. I don't know for sure because I didn't play for long. Yeah. I think so. Maybe. Oh, nope. Because they'll click in if they're right. Puzzles are hard.
Puzzles they're not hard. They're relaxing. Fairly easy to do. You just kind of grab a piece and then you move it to the area that you think it belongs into, and then you try to drop it in place. And if it works, great, you're the hero. And if it doesn't, then it obviously doesn't go there, and so you just put it to the side and grab another piece. Rinse and repeat until you're done. But the gun is way big. Yeah, I know the gun was way bigger than the squirrel. It's what made the whole thing so funny. Is
it's the absurdity.
Yeah, And I think more than anything, I think that was the reason why I wanted to watch it, is just to watch Squirrel's reaction to the absurdity of the game. And that's it's one of those things, right? Like, as I have been getting to know people in the community and making friends and everything, like, there are just games where I'm like, I want to watch this personality play this game because I just want to see that sort of what their reaction is to some of the antics in the game.
Yeah.
I think I think it would be a good time. I think it would be funny. It's like having people go, "Oh, I want to watch you play horror because I think you'll be funny when you're trying to play a horror game and you yell and scream and everything." And I ruin people's feelings because they're like, "Oh yes, you'll get terrified of Phasmo," and I ended up just walking around laughing like an idiot the whole time.
See, I don't play in the right environment to play those games.
What do you mean?
Because I feel like if you really want to get the most out of those games, you got to play them in an area where there's tension. So, like, you got to have the lights off, or it'd be environmental for me. Like, I'm gonna be able to play a horror game like that, but if I'm playing on stream and I got my lights on in front of me and the camera on and I'm talking, it's not gonna get me. But the very first time I ever played Resident Evil, the very first one,
Right.
I'm 12 years old, 13 years old, whatever it is. And the very first time I played it was during a thunderstorm at like 2:00 in the morning. And that was terrifying. But I think it's more of the environment than the game itself.
Yes, I would definitely agree with you. I think that's definitely a more environmental impact at that point. I think in some games we kind of psych ourselves up for, like, I would imagine Mortuary Assistant would probably be like horrifically terrifying in a blacked out room and a thunderstorm going on outside that mimics the game sounds. Yeah, you probably would terrify the snot out of yourself. On the other hand, I have played games where I've had like the dark. It's a horror game. The lights are turned out and everything else, and because it's that ambiance scare, it doesn't faze me. I just don't get terrified by it.
Right.
Yeah, the camp settings are a pain. And unfortunately, because you do have a light now, I would almost say that I would, if I was going to turn a cam on and play a horror game where I was intentionally trying to set myself up for the best possible chance to scream like a little girl, I would tell people that you're just going to have to get used to the fact that there's no light on the camera pointing at me. You either can see the shadowy figure of my face due to the glare off the screen, and that's going to have to be good enough.
Yeah, exactly. That would be what I would do. Yeah, I would either have to have all the lights I have on off and everything on the house off.
And
so, like, you get the monitor and that's it.
That's it.
Because I don't think I would. I'd be in the same boat, I think, as you. If I have all my settings on, my lights and everything, I'm not in the right mood to be scared. And so I'm going to be too focused on other stuff.
Right. Exactly. And of course there's also chat going on, and now I think chat, and I say this as a member of chat in generally most places, working my magic to terrify the crap out of some poor streamer. As chat goes, we love to terrify the streamer.
Yeah.
There's some kind of sick we enjoy doing it.
Yeah, I don't know the motivation. Because it seems almost vindictive, but it comes from a place of love. Like, I'm not doing it to be mean.
Absolutely, and for that matter, I suggest besides myself. It's definitely one of those, like, no, I don't think it's at a point where we're like not trying to be be vindictive about it or anything else. But it is for the best of the entertainment. And yes, chat will absolutely just like find that button and then just push it over and over and over. I have watched some streamers just like absolutely lose their mind over that stuff. Now, granted, I think we all have our limits. Like we all know exactly how far to push. And, exactly, right?
Yes.
Nerdum's got it. I love you, but I want you to ruin your pants and your chair. This comes from an absolute place of love. Go pee your pants now.
Yes. Exactly.
And there's just there are just certain people where you're like, yes, I would love to see somebody do that. It would just be fun. Jillian would like to know, what is the game genre you are least interested in?
First-person shooters.
Really?
It's weird because it's where I come from. I used to play Rainbow Six competitively.
Mm-hmm.
I was top 5 in the world for Rainbow Six 3 when it came out, and they had their ladder system for ranking
Right.
for like 6 months. That was like my bread and butter for games. They're boring unless I'm playing competitively, and I'm just so out of practice that I can't play competitively. So they don't draw me in anymore like they used to. So I really don't have I don't know of a first person shooter that I haven't. I have Apex installed on my computer, and I don't think I've ever loaded it because I used to play a lot of that with my brother-in-law. But we stopped a couple years ago, and I don't know the last first person shooter Call of Duty type game that I've played with any kind of consistency.
Well, so all right, so I'm going to ask the question then. Is it FPS or is it competitive PvP?
Well,
Because
it's
and
probably
I say
competitive
this,
PvP, and it's probably because of a time constraint.
I'm going to say because, you know, there are games like Deep Rock Galactic, which is an FPS that is not competitive. Yeah, sure, you can shoot each other in the back, I suppose, if you want to be competitive that way. But,
Yeah, well, I mean, because the way I play No Man's Sky, I play first person mode, so you could make the argument that No Man's Sky is a first person shooter,
right?
and I play a lot of that game. But I think it's more of the competitive first person shooter games that I just don't. They just don't do it for me anymore.
That's fair, right? If you're not into the competitive scene, totally fair.
Which is weird because I love competitive. Like I like competitive games.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the time to be good anymore. I think that's what it comes down to. I don't have 6 hours every day where I can just sit and grind and
right.
feel accomplished with it. I just feel frustrated at that point.
Yeah, you know, spend 6 to 12 hours getting your twitchy reflexes where they need to be and whatnot to do.
Yeah.
PvP killed Destiny 2 for you. Grew up in COD servers. PvP, yeah. See, and that's I used to do. Back in the day, I was huge into the PvP scene and the FPSs, specifically UT, Unreal Tournament.
Yep. I played a lot of that LAN party. I LAN partied that a lot.
I was
competitive side, but
you did. Oh, you missed out on the competitive side.
Yeah, I never played it competitively like in tournaments, like I did Rainbow Six.
Yeah, I used to do tournaments. We had a top 5 team back in the early days.
I had fun with that game more than I did competitive. I tried to do things that would be funny.
Yeah, well, there was a lot of things that you could do that was funny.
I was that way with Quake too. When all my friends were
Quake
playing
was such
Quake
a fun
Arena.
one. Yeah, I remember Quake Arena. That too was a good one to play. But you know that. Yeah, I make a distinction between PvP and just regular FP, right, or FPSs, because
Yeah.
I still play FPSs. I really enjoy a good FPS. I don't have the desire to do the sweats anymore.
Yeah.
I don't mind playing. I'll play Fortnite on occasion, but to be honest, like every time I've played Fortnite as of recently, I'm screwing around. Like 90% of the times, I'm just dicking around. I'm not even trying to finish. And the few times that we have finished in the top, where we've taken home victory, I swear it's because somebody else in the group was more interested in it than I was. I'm too busy trying to run around and dive in and out of porta potties. Like, ha ha! I will surprise you.
I enjoy Fortnite when I'm playing with people. It's one of those. It's a social game for like even like when I play with my kids.
Mhm.
I'm probably not going to fire Fortnite up and just play the battle royale Fortnite solo, and I'm not going to
No.
random join in with people. Like if I can't joke around and mess with people, I'm probably not going to play it. Now I'm still super competitive because that's just who I am as a person.
Mm-hmm.
I want to win. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it right. And so
Right.
I'm going to try to win. Which is also why I like my daughter plays super aggressive, which is the same way I play those kind of games. And so that's why we jive real well. She's got to get a little better with her aim, but because she's also super. She hears gunfire and she's like, "Hey, Dad, there's people fighting over here," and she's gone. But she's 10. She's got time.
It's fine. It's fine. They'll get there. I think it's one of those. It's always fun to watch the progression.
Mm-hmm.
And I think more than anything else, that's where I spend a lot of my time at, is just watching the progression of somebody who goes from okay to better to they're regularly kicking butt the whole time. Do you get to a point where do you get burnout? If you got burnout, then what do they do? Because do they continue to play or not? And you find that most people, it's really interesting because I have seen some people that get really good, hit burnout, and then turn into toxic players.
Yeah, I think that's common.
And that's sad because, I think you could have so much more fun. If you've got that much talent and skill and whatnot, you can have fun with it. Then you should have fun with it. Hide in the toilet and jump out and surprise people with a...
I'm a big advocate for taking breaks when you feel that way. Like, if you're playing a game and you're just grinding away, and as soon as it starts to feel like a job when it shouldn't, because some games do feel like jobs, but they're supposed to.
Oh yeah.
Like Satisfactory, doing Satisfactory stuff feels like a job, but it's supposed to feel like a job. But if
I wouldn't know. I can't play Satisfactory.
I know. I do like that game too. That one's. But that's my big like. I've taken breaks from games for that exact reason, just feeling like this feels like a chore, and then I come back and I feel better I feel like I'm a better player at that game because I've taken that break and I still feel that the endorphins, the dopamine hits still
right
when I start to play it again. As soon as that stops to hit, I've learned to this is a long 30 plus years of gaming experience has taught me. As soon as you start to feel that miss, you're better just to move away for a little bit, and you'll enjoy the games a lot longer.
You take the occasional time out. Serb's like, Serb likes to play Apex. So I swear I have watched Serb play that, and he gets so sweaty sometimes in that when he plays Apex. It is absolutely comical.
Yep.
Hi, Misty Soul. Welcome in. So rude. Poor squirrel. getting called out on their Fortnite gameplay.
Yep.
It's such a good time. But okay, so what is a favorite tactic you like to do in Fortnite?
One of two things. I either drop on the boss. If I know where there's a boss, I try to drop on the boss. Because if I can kill the boss, it sets you up so well. Or I'll do the entire opposite if I'm playing with somebody who isn't super good. I'm more likely to just like, hey, why don't we drop over here at these couple of little houses, and then we can loot up and just play the edges of the circle. But if I'm playing with people that are good, I'm like, no, let's just drop on the boss and wreck them and take the good loot and then just start killing people. And there's no.
I feel like you've run a few games with Squirrel.
I haven't. I would like to. I would love to be able to. But there's no in between for me. It really is. It's an all or nothing thing. Either we're in, and we're going in full bore. We're gonna get 18 kills each, and we're gonna have a good time, or we're gonna get 2 kills at the end to win the game. And there's nothing in the middle.
Swift is A, fun to play with. B, I think more often not, even when I'm playing with Swift, the few times I've had the opportunity to play with Swift, I screw around. I absolutely just kind of, I'm like, let's have some fun with this. Who can we just save Muffin and Ford's bacon last night out?
Nice.
See, sweats.
Yeah, exactly. They won 2 games.
I had one of my favorite clips on my channel is a Fortnite clip where I'm like lightsabering a dude to death, and you can hear Squirrel and Brotherfjord in that clip, and it was Squirrel, Brotherfjord, and there was somebody else, and I'm sorry, I forgot who. There was 4 of us in there. And the only reason why we got that far and won was because Squirrel and Brotherford, they did all of the work. I literally picked up lightsaber there at the end, ran up to the guy and killed him. Like that's all I did, but it looked cool.
I mean, that's half the game right there.
Like, yes, it looked good. That's right. We're gonna make this look good. Oh, I can imagine, but it's always good fun. I think personally, I think the true reward to games like that is just that, is having the fun.
Yeah.
Yelling, hooting, hollering, screaming, and just laughing like maniacs.
Yeah, and I think that's why the competitive first-person shooter scene isn't for me anymore. Is that for me to get to that point where you're winning, you can't be having fun. It's you have to be so hyper focused on every movement, every pixel, every here, especially like CS:GO is one of those games that I could never, because those people have the way that they play competitive is a whole different level of competitive.
Right.
And yeah, it's if I win, great. But if I'm just winning by steamrolling everyone and telling them, oh no, you got to go here, you got to do this, it's just not for me anymore. It used to be that was my jam before.
Right.
I ain't got time for that stuff anymore.
Yeah, I don't know too many people that do have time for that anymore. I've only got so much time in my day, and if left up to my own devices, where that time is going to be spent, it's going to be spent laughing like an idiot.
Yeah.
More so than anything else. Like, to me, that's a good time. Just faffing about and questing.
My daughter and I had one of those the other day. There were 5 people left, and the ring is it's like the 6th ring, and we're just standing on this hill, and then all of a sudden we won. We didn't shoot a shot, just won the game. So I'm like, well, they must have got stuck.
they took themselves out.
No, they got stuck in the storm somewhere, and we were just sitting on top of the hill waiting for people. Accidental wins are still valid wins.
They are, and I would almost say sometimes they're the best wins. Because, you didn't have to try hard for it.
Right.
I mean, you take those where you can get those. Personally, I think if you can win while emoting on top of a tall mountain, waiting for somebody to come up and pick a fight with you, those are the best wins of the game.
Yeah. Yep.
You're like, yep. And those would be the ones that I would be like making TikTok videos out of. Like, yeah. Some kind of blurb. Oh, look, we're too great. They were all scared. Cue emote dancing win. Victory. Works every time. Like that to me seems like it would be a good time. Though I am still, I gotta remember to do that. Serb and Brotherford are supposed to join me. We're supposed to sit on Valheim on the beach one day and have a troll come walking in out the water, and then we were going to do the whole moto thing on the back end of it.
I mean, that would be a fun. That would be a fun clip.
Don't look now, Brotherford, but Moto likes you. Oh, the things, outlandish ideas. They're always the best. On terms of silly things, what would you say has been the most silliest thing that you've been a part of or you have done in a video game to date?
In a video, silly things in a video game.
Yes.
Probably it either has to go with I had an Apex game with my brother-in-law and one of our friends, and we decided and this is back when the Mozambique was bad. It was the meme gun.
Right.
And we decided that we weren't super good. Our clan tag, which was just the three of us, was the okayest team because we always finished usually the top 10-ish, but we were very rarely winning. And so we were just okay. We were the okayest team that was out there. And so we decided to have one whole game where the only gun we would use was the Mozambique. And we won. It was one of the best games we ever played. I think we ended up with like 15 kills total, and we won the game just using the meme guns. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. It's just absolute ridiculousness of it all. Because by the end of it, we're like, come on, this can't be a real thing where we're going to be able to win this with the worst guns in the game.
Wow.
But at that point, when you have three people and you have all three of you have three Mozambiques, you can lay down some damage as long as you play well together.
Right.
And that was in a very odd thing to have happen. And the only other one was when I played on one of the custom Ultima Online servers, it was a D&D based server, and so you picked classes based on D&D classes, and you could respec. You could pay a certain amount of gold, and you could respec at any time. And me and my clan went and ground for it had been 6 weeks because it was expensive to respec, and we all respect into bards, and then we went to the bank in the main city, and we all sat on the top of the bank with lutes and instruments, and we just played the various songs that the game had for like 6 hours for no reason. We just sit and we didn't respond to anyone in chat. We didn't talk to anyone. We just sat up there and played music for no reason. But we all respect. I mean, we probably spent 80 million gold at the time for the whole clan to respec just so that we could do this little bard thing on the top of the bank for no reason. And then we had to spend
And-
the same amount to respec back so we could actually continue to play the game. That was
but I
fun
mean,
too.
that's the kind of like, those are the bits of stupidity that make lasting memories. It's like, oh, I spent not just hours, but days, weeks
yeah,
for this sort of thing to pull off this bit of stupidity, and the payoff from that is just,
oh, it was
it's
great.
fantastic. Yeah,
Absolutely fantastic.
it's one of those that yeah. You hold on to it because it's a good memory.
Yeah, and it's especially fun because on the server our clan name was the Avatars, and we were the Protectors. We were all lawful good characters, and the only thing we did was we hunted all of the PK players on the server.
Okay.
And so we're all highly effective PvP classes, and now the entire clan is on the bank being bards. So
there's probably a lot of confused looks at that point.
yeah, especially because we didn't answer anyone in chat. We just stood there and played our instruments. It was great. It was good fun. And then within a few days, we're all right back to what we were doing before, like nothing had ever happened.
Meanwhile, everybody else on the servers was trying to figure out what in the world.
The PKs did get like 3 days of free reign killing people because we weren't spec'd to fight back.
Right.
So there was a little bit of fallout from it, but not too bad. It wasn't too bad.
But you know, again, does it really matter that much? It's just a game at the end of the day.
You're right.
I made the mistake of saying that to a fellow EverQuest friend of mine. I'm like, dude, it's just a game. It's not a game. EverQuest is life. I'm like, oh God, here we go.
See, I've never
Calm
been
down.
that. I've never been somebody like that. That was just like, oh, this is you gotta, you know. I've never been hardcore enough to get upset over things like that, which is why I never got into WoW a lot, because it felt like the whole community was that way. There wasn't just, you know, kind of happy-go-lucky people in the game. They all seemed to just be super hardcore. At least everyone I knew. And so it always turned me off from that game.
I did WoW. By the time I got to WoW, unfortunately, I was a little over being at the top of the game. So a little history lesson, right? I came to playing WoW after being played on Zogany in EverQuest, and we were the top rating guild on Zogany. And I was the main tank for the top guild, and so I lived, eat, and breathed EverQuest day in, day out.
Okay. Yep.
Staying at the top level, and then I got out of that, and I went to Star Wars Galaxy after that. And I kind of took a time out from that.
I played a tiny bit of Star Wars Galaxies. I played a smuggler.
I played the entertainer. I actually went the entertainer route just because I discovered that I could make music with their. Like I would sit in the bars and listen to the entertainers, and you had the dancers that were always the chicks, and I'm like, there's no way I'm ever doing the dancing. That's not happening. So I played the instrument, and then I discovered that they had this whole instrument system, but everybody would just kind of turn on the music to play, and it was just the same snippet of a song that would just repeat over and over and over and over and over and over. And I remember talking to an entertainer. I'm like, is that all you guys do when you play music? I'm like, if that's so, that kind of sucks. They're like, no, you can do this, right? And so they did this, what they call a flourish. And so suddenly the song changed for a brief second. Like it introduced a new segment of the song and then it went back to the same boring thing again. I'm like, well, why don't you do more of that? Well, because I have to hit this button every time I want it to do that. I'm like, okay.
Okay.
Like, yeah, and so it just gets tiring to do that, and I can't hit the buttons over and over and over again like this when I'm also trying to buff people, because that's what you went to see an entertainer for, is you got inspirations, so you would get buffs to your stats, long-term buffs, like
Right.
2 hours long, 2 to 4 hours. So like you would go visit an entertainer and get customized buffs. Like you could go in there and be like, yeah, I want 10 points in strength, I want 5 points in defense, and then give me like 200 attack power. And like you could, as a cap level entertainer, you could build a customized buff like that for everybody came through. And so people would tip really well, because then they would get 2 hours of this really good buff. They would go out and go do whatever they wanted to do. PvP, PvE, whatever, didn't matter.
I never got that far into it. Yeah, I never got that far into it.
But I got bored one day, and so I decided I would do entertainer on that. Discovered that, yeah, it did have an actual music system. Discovered that every instrument could play the same bass song, but every instrument played a different portion of the same bass song. And then that there was you could macro everything, and so there you could actually denote the instrument that should do the flourish, which flourish within the song, and so you could construct wholesale pieces of music out of these songs that they had baked into the game. And so I wrote like whole pieces of music using their own internal baked in music, and became a very famous entertainer on the server as the only guy who actually did music, and would host regular like plays and whatnot. I had my own theater and would host plays, and I would play all the music for the plays, and we would have people getting out there and singing and dancing and doing whatever they wanted to do.
That is an awesome thing to get into. Like that's a feature that I didn't know the game would have even had.
Yeah, it was such a good time. I had so much fun with that. It just was a real, but yeah. So by the time I got to WoW, I was done doing like the top player of the server sort of thing. I just didn't care.
Right. Yeah.
So I spent a lot of my time just kind of screwing around with different builds. I ran a feral druid most of the time, just because I like tanking. I still like tanking even to this day. But good time.
I played WoW for a tiny bit, but it was never. And I tried a couple of different things, but I never even hit max level in WoW. It was just not a thing. It wasn't my play style at the time.
It's fair. I don't know that it's everybody's play style. These firecrackers are killing me. I think your son is still driving it, because occasionally I just see your name zip across the screen like a million miles an hour. I'm like, okay.
Yep. Yeah, my daughter took a turn, and then she was like, "No, this isn't for me. There's no shooting. I'm gonna move on."
no shitty bang bangs, huh?
Yep. She's like, "Oh, this is all it is? Okay."
Yeah, it's just a puzzle.
Yep, it's just a puzzle.
Which, this is what we do on Talk Tuesdays. We sit around, we talk, and we do puzzles. Like, now, what would when you sit down to play a game, what is the thing that you look for in the game that's really going to grab your attention? Like, No Man's Sky, there's got to be something in No Man's Sky that really keeps you focused and keep coming back because you're really enjoying it, whether it's the gameplay, a particular game mechanic, could just be story.
Story is a huge story. Used to be the primary factor for me for a game. I used to play a lot of RPGs for that thing alone. A lot of the classic RPGs. I'm big Lunar, Star Ocean, the Final Fantasy games, things like that. um, Legends of Mana, stuff like that.
Right.
Now, it really just comes down to I want things to be fun in a way that, like, so like with No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky to me is 5 games in one. Because you can play No Man's Sky the way like Zoda and I are playing, which is kind of just free for all. We're just kind of wherever the hyperspace trails take us, that's what we're doing. But you
Mhm.
can play the story. You can just focus the story and just run through the story and do nothing else. You never have to do the settlement stuff. You never have to build a base. You never have to do those things. You can just run the storyline. Or you can completely ignore the storyline and just build bases. Just focus on building bases, gathering the materials to build your next level of base and your next unit, whatever you got to do. Or you can run just exploration. You can just be looking for the perfect planet in the perfect system. Um, there's a resource management system if you're doing like the settlement side of
Mhm.
the game where you're doing your Sim City style thing where you're doing your missions to get credits to buy new buildings to upgrade the settlement to have your people make you money or get you resources. And then there's also the squad management where you can, or the frigate management where you're sending frigates out on missions, and so you got to pick which frigates you put on the missions, what missions you're taking, and there's so many things to do in No Man's Sky that every time you play it, you can play it a different way. You can do a different thing. I think that's what draws me to the survival games in general, especially the procedural ones like Valheim and Aska. Um, is that every time you play them, they're going to be a little different. You're going to find a
They're going to
different
be.
island. You're not going to be locked in this. This is how the game is. Way things go, and so you can be like, oh, maybe my starting island is crap, and I have to build boats. I have to like push to get to boats quick because the starting island is crap. Or like in Zoda and Swift's current thing, their starting island is super cool. They got this huge lake that is where they're around, so like they have access to a lot of stuff all right
Right.
then, and it's always different. And I think that's what draws me to those games right now, is that it's different every time. I don't like the repetitiveness of some of
Well,
the
but
other.
I would almost also say though that there is a bit of repetitiveness
Oh, oh yeah.
to the survival games in nature, even when you have the ones that are procedurally generated.
Oh
Um,
yeah, the storyline, so to speak, even though there isn't a story in most of them, the storyline is the same. Like you still have to do the things you're doing are the same,
mhm.
but you can do them in different orders depending on what resources spawn by you and things like that.
Depending on how lucky you get, what access to what you have, right?
I'm
Different
a big
things
fan of
spawn close
RNG
to you.
as well. I'm a huge fan of RNG. I love the randomness of things.
See, and here's where every time somebody says RNG, I cringe.
Dad.
Just because I know what goes into that RNG that everybody claims. Oh, it's
Right.
RNG. Nah, not really.
The old RNG things where it was based on the clock of the computer, and so if you knew when you needed to click on something, you could have your computer clock open because
Yep.
the algorithm was based on what the number of your. Yeah, I know those days.
Well, it's not just those days then. They're still now.
Yeah, yeah,
Like every time a game actually has a need for something that's random, it pulls a seed.
yep.
Jan, granted, the likelihood of you knowing exactly the seed that the program is going to pull at that specific moment in order to generate its random number, fine. I would say you're less likely to know it off the top of your head. But again, it's not really random. It's a predetermined number.
Yes.
And if you know how it works, then you technically could work your way backwards through the system and be able to make fairly accurate calculated guesses as to what the random number is going to be over and over again.
Yeah, that I feel like it's gotten a lot better than it used to be in how things are generated randomly. But I can't remember which game it was. I had a kid I went to high school with. He was a math whiz and he was a programming whiz. And whatever game it was that we were playing, he knew how the algorithm worked for the RNG. And so he'd have his system clock up. And so whenever he went to click the button, he just waited until it had the digits in the right spot and he'd click it and it would every time. He'd win every time.
Every time. And it's things like that where everybody's like, oh, it's RNG. Mm-hmm. Sure. RNG. That's exactly.
But like dice rolls, that's my big, the way I like, because I'm a big tabletop RPG player as well.
Mm-hmm.
And my favorite RPG system is Warhammer Fantasy, 2nd edition.
Okay.
Purely, and one, it's a great system in and of itself. I don't like the setting.
Right.
I don't usually play in the setting, but the system itself is great. But you can have a character that is completely random in its generation, in that if you roll, I want to say it's 17 D10, and you just write them down in order. Roll 17 D10 and write them down in order. You can build a character just off that, because the whole everything in the book has a table on it to determine what it is.
Okay. Well, and that's a bit more random, right? We're talking about like trying to generate something randomly. Dice roll is going to be a bit more random, but there's also a state in mathematics that says that there's nothing random isn't truly random. And really, even most random patterns, no matter what you think you're doing to cause it to be random, can still be found to have a pattern and not actually be truly random.
Yeah. I don't get into it that far.
Okay, so I get into it this far just because of I'm my background in programming, and on occasions there is a need to have a random number generator. Yeah. And the question is always, which random number generator do you use? And then it's one of those like, okay, well, that really depends on what kind of random number and what sort of predictability that you want to have in your random number. Because anyways.
I've triggered Nori.
I could get onto a soapbox on this and talk for hours. It's not really so much trigger. It's one of these. I've had this conversation before with people. They're like, "Oh, random is random." That's all I can ever be like. No. So random is not really random.
Yes, and I get what you're saying in twofold. Is I've programmed for a long time. I know a lot of programming languages, but I have a degree in science, and it's a mathematical based science, and with a degree in physics. So I 100% agree. And I'm there where you're thinking, in that there's aside from you look at the existential view of reality, that's about the most random thing. Outside of that, you can pattern recognize a lot of things in a lot of ways.
Right.
But it's how deep does that need to go for it to be like effective?
Yes, and that comes back to the whole question of how random do you really need it to be, right?
Right.
For most video games, the surface level randomness is good enough.
Yep.
Which, again, if you're a hacker and you want to game the system, that surface level random means that you now have an edge, and whether or not you use that competitively or not, that's entirely up to your ethics and your what you're willing to do.
Right.
I knew guys that had no qualms about cheating the system because they knew how. Their statements would have been, if you didn't want me to cheat the system, you shouldn't have made it possible for me to do so.
The people I know, they're one of the most used phrases in communities I've been a part of is it's not cheating if it's in the system. It's me using the system that's there.
Yeah.
Regardless of what they needed to do to gain access to said system, it was there. If it allowed me to do it, it's free game, and
it's free game.
I mean, I guess.
But can we really just say I guess and walk away from that? I think saying I guess and walking away from it is kind of like watching somebody do it's not the same level. Let me paraphrase this before I go down this way.
I was like, where are we going with this?
Paraphrase this, but it's almost the same akin as watching somebody do evil and be like, well, they didn't do it against me, so what difference does it make, right? And walk away from it. If they're willing to do it to somebody else, they're willing to do it to you. Like if you're doing this in a competitive gaming field or whatnot, and suddenly somebody figures out how to get a competitive edge, they'll use it against you. They'll use it against their mother. They'll use it against everybody they want to.
Yeah. I've never been one of those people that's I've never, like, when it comes to actually using a hack or something in the game,
right?
I guess I've never taken it that serious enough to think that was something that needed to be done.
I taught my daughter how to hack. It was pretty comical. I got a good chuckle out of it. What I taught my daughter how to hack was how to do a memory hack of Fable, the original Fable, so that they could have unlimited money because they were so poor with their handling their money. Like they would spend it as quickly as it landed in their bags.
Okay.
And I'm like, here's how you can have all the money that you want. Go buy up everything in the game. Have fun. Now, nothing wrong with that. It doesn't hurt anybody, and you can't use that to gain a competitive edge in anything.
Correct.
The only person that you cheat in that situation is yourself, and I'm a 14-year-old kid who just wants to play the game because they want to see the pretty animals as they run around through there. I don't see that as being a big issue.
Nope.
I'm not losing sleep over that.
It's not the worst skill to have.
No.
In that it gives you some knowledge in how things like that work.
Yes. Oh, I made them learn. It wasn't like, oh, here's how you do it. No. You want here? I'm going to show you how you do this. Here's how you have to, grab the resident memory addressing out of the game space as it's running. Here's how you decipher the binary bits that are in that memory address as you search through all of the potential memory addresses in here. Find the one that you're looking for, and now here's how you inject new information into those spots. Like it was a whole lesson.
I think the worst I ever did was I made some CD cracks back for games.
Oh, I love those. Those were so much fun back in the day.
And all the ones I did were for no other reason than I didn't want to have to continually find and put the discs in my computer. I didn't do them to give to people. I'd like Civ 2 was a big one that was one of the first ones that I really, because I played a lot of Civ 2 and Empire Earth and Age of Empires 2. And I was playing them very concurrently. And so just switching the discs back and forth got frustrating. And so I learned how to do it so that I wouldn't have to.
There's nothing wrong with that. I remember doing CD cracks. Those were fun. This is an age. Now I'm starting to feel my age. It's fine. Now, so you're doing No Man's Sky with Zoda right now.
Yes.
What has been a memorable moment that you two have had that jumps to your mind? You think about everything that you've done so far. What?
Zoda drowned himself. That wasn't. I
How
had
the
to mute my
hell?
microphone because I could stop laughing. Because I warned him before it happened.
Was it one of these that he just didn't listen and dove headfirst into it,
It,
or
it was. I think it was either our first or second time playing,
right?
and he hadn't really played it.
Hmm.
Like he had, he didn't know really anything about it.
Right, right,
And
right.
we were on a planet that had water, and he dove into the water, and I'm talking about how, like, yeah, it has air and things like that. Well, he misconstrued your life support with your oxygen level, and they're different mechanics in the game.
Right.
And so he's diving under he's like in an underwater cave, and all of a sudden he starts taking damage. He's like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "You're drowning. You're gonna drown." And then he did. It was quite funny.
Hey, Bates.
Which in a permadeath, because we're in a permadeath mode.
Oh yeah, that's
we-
horrendous.
Yeah, it was like it was early on, so it really wasn't like some debilitating,
Right,
event. Now, where we're at now, if one of us were to die, it'd be a big loss. We've progressed a lot.
right. Uh, Now, in your particular permadeath challenge that you guys are in, how far along would you say you are currently?
It depends what gauge you're measuring, because that's the thing with No Man's Sky, in that there's our goal is to reach the center of the galaxy. Like that's the goal we've put on it, is to reach the center of the galaxy. In terms of where we're at getting there, like
Mm-hmm.
15%, maybe not even that.
Well, I'm looking at more towards your guys' perspective. Like you've set yourself up a challenge for this, right? So
Yes.
at some point, there is some sort of target end goal, whatever that happens to be. It's an arbitrary defined value that you guys have decided that this is our target. This is when we know we've achieved success. And so
Yeah.
I'm curious as to, on that roadmap, where would you gauge yourself at this point?
Yeah, like 10-15%. We're still super early in.
So you still a long ways to go.
Oh yeah, we have so much stuff to do still, which is great. And I like that
Yeah,
about
yeah.
it, because we have so many things that we need to do, but neither one of us have a super great amount of focus. It's so we start going, and we start every stream with a goal. This is what we're gonna do, and then 20 minutes in, we've completely abandoned, not on purpose, not even knowing it really, until we're like 2 hours in and we realize we haven't done any of the things that we thought we were gonna do today. It is what it is.
That sounds exactly like running around with soda.
Mhm. I'm not
This is
any
like-
better.
Again, streamer brain, very real
Yes.
thing,
Mm-hmm.
very real thing. And I think it's very easy for, like, yes, we're going to do this, and then before you know it, you've lost track of what this was, where you were at, what you were doing, and before long you have made up something completely different.
Yep.
And then it's when you get to the end of the stream, you're like, okay, so have we done what we accomplished today? What was it we were going to? Oh, that's right, we were going to do. Yeah, we didn't do that at all.
Yep. That's pretty common for us.
Mm. Still. Don't drown, soda. Blup, 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 blup. Too late.
No, I wish I would have clipped it. I really do. But he was the one who was on camera at the time. He was the one streaming at the time. And I wasn't actively in the chat to clip it. But it was great.
Oh, that's fantastic. I'm certain that he'll enjoy us reveling in that particular absurdity,
Yes.
but that's
Oh,
all
yeah.
right.
Not embarrassing at all. The drowning.
No, not
or
at all.
some of the- I mean, I've died twice too. We both died twice,
Okay.
and so, and his drowning death was it was his drowning death. That is what it is. My first death was sheer overconfidence. Thought no issues. I'm gonna walk into this sentinel nest and just wreck them. It won't be a problem. And I was real wrong. Real wrong. And my second death was funny, even though it was completely not like really of my fault. We were in a pirate fight and I accidentally shot one of the good guy ships. And so the sentinels came after me and I couldn't get away. And once
Well,
you
yeah,
start fighting him, you can't
yeah,
when you're
no,
in
that's not
space,
good.
you can't get away. So
No. That's definitely along the lines of in space, nobody can hear you scream.
Yep.
So sometimes I feel like Zoda would give that particular axiom a run for its money.
Oh.
It's such a good time. So okay, so Zoda drowning to death like that. There was like zero hesitation on that one, which it just makes it so much better. I'm sorry when you're like, what's the favorite? Nope, this is it, bar none. Don't even ask again.
Yep, that was easily that was the highlight of our, and because it was early on and it kind of set the tone for our little stream relationship that we have going, because we both thought it was hilarious. Like it really, like, even though it's permadeath and it was tragic and we had just rebuilt a lot of stuff and all this, and then death, but it wasn't, neither one of us take it serious enough to be like, oh, and so it was good. It was good.
Good. So what would be your guys' proudest moment at this point?
Oh, when we both set out a few weeks ago, our goal was to get freighters, our capital ships.
Mm-hmm.
And we both almost simultaneously defeated and captured dreadnoughts. And so we each got our capital ships on the same night.
Nice.
Both got full dreadnought, decent dreadnought. So we've each upgraded since then. But I think that was because they're early on, which we got them early on. They're not easy. They're not easy fights to do. And so being able to accomplish that when we did, I think was a big thing. And it led us to where we are now, in where we have squadrons. We each have squadrons of ships that if we get into fights, they show up to help us.
Right.
And that stemmed from that singular event of capturing those dreadnoughts.
I've played a little bit of No Man's Sky. I've never even come close to anything that I've seen you guys do on there.
Yeah.
Like the few times I have played, I'm still like futzing around on Planet One, just trying to figure out what it is. And I'll be honest, I only keep picking it back up and going back at it because I tune in and watch what you guys are doing. I'm like, there is a reason to keep pushing past this.
I don't know.
It's just been thumbs up.
Yes, buddy, we can't play that one right now because it's not in Game Pass.
I see.
You're
I see.
to play. Trying to play a game that we had on Game Pass, and it has since moved off Game Pass.
Yes. Game Pass is nice. It lets you really get in there and try a bunch of different games for a reasonable price. But when they move off, it kind of sucks. It's one of those, you definitely want to settle in and finish the game.
Yeah, and it's one of those, I wish I paid closer attention to the games, because when they're on Game Pass, you can get a discount when you purchase them.
Right.
And so if I enjoy a game, I play it a lot on Game Pass, and then I maybe move away from it, and then I forget about it, and when I go to play it again, it's not on Game Pass anymore, and then I have to pay full price if I want to play it.
Right. Kind of kick yourself. You're like, oh, I could have got that cheaper.
Yeah.
Say, so when you go looking for a game to play, whether it's in your spare time or it's a game that you're looking to do on stream, what is the sort of game that you're most likely to pick up first?
For stream, it's something that I don't feel that I have to stay hyper focused on. Like I tried to stream Diablo 4
Mm-hmm.
and I can't. I can't do it because for me to play that game, I have to be hyper focused on that game. And then I can't track the chat and if the stream is working. Like I have too much focus on the game
Right.
to do both. And so even though I enjoyed the game, kind of, it's not something that I feel like I could do on stream. And so if it's something I want to do on stream, it needs to be something that I can enjoy and that I think other people might either be interested in playing or interested in seeing me play. So part of why I like a lot of survival games is that there's the creativity when it comes to building bases, setting up farms, like Satisfactory, how to itemize things and how to utilize things to its maximum potential.
Right.
Is something that other people may enjoy. When it comes to things in my free time, it's usually the same criteria, but it could also just be if I need to mind rot, I need a game that I can just sit and let my brain just idle and do a thing. And just sit and do just enough to keep the neurons firing, but letting everything else kind of wash back. That's a lot of what I do in my free time when I'm not focusing on what to do on stream. And so it kind of comes into that. Now, when it comes to single player games, I'm still very story driven.
Right.
And so I will still try to find a game with a good story. Which I felt lately has been harder to find. Not that there's no games with good stories. I just feel like the quality of story, maybe it's the back in my day coming out, but I feel like the story just like.
Okay, we get to start talking about stories, and I'll be honest with you, I tend to annoy people when I play story games because I skip cutscenes.
Okay, that would annoy me.
Back in my day, all the story, the plot devices, and everything else was in the freaking pamphlet that came with the game.
That's true. Yeah.
Go ahead. Argue that one.
You're not wrong. I 100% remember reading those a lot. So I can't argue that point.
So we didn't have cutscenes. You didn't worry about cutscenes. You got it, like you read the book. The book tells you this is how you play the game. Great. And then you dove into the game, you started dying. And then you played it until you beat the game by just getting good.
Yeah.
Why are you doing this? Why are you going to kill? Here's the book. Just throw it at your buddy. Why are we playing this game? Here's the book. Please.
Yeah.
Just start playing.
Yeah, you are not wrong. I've definitely played those games. Like that's
so for me, the RPG, when I play an RPG, I tend to skip cutscenes because I've already read the synopsis at the front. I know why we're going to go kill the big bad guy. You know, he did a horrible, mean, bad thing. We're all right. He's got to die. That's it. That's all I need to know. Let's go.
That's
don't.
It's not how I play, but I understand where it's coming from. But you know, like I was playing Flintlock a little bit. I played it on stream, and I enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy it as much on stream again because I had to focus a lot on the game.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much for combat, but it's a story. You know, it's a
It's a
story-driven
story.
narrative game. And if I played it on stream, I would feel that if somebody is there to watch me play it, they're there for the story. And so
Right.
I wouldn't feel comfortable skipping a cutscene on stream. Off stream, if I understand what's going on in the scenario, I might not sit through a whole cutscene. Like if I can guess what's going to happen,
Mm-hmm.
but I would feel bad if somebody is invested on stream, and then I just like, this isn't important because maybe it is. I don't know. I'm not there, so I don't play a lot of story games on stream. And part of that might also be because I don't necessarily enjoy watching story games on stream. And so it's hard for me to get into the mindset of this is how I present a story game to my audience because I don't watch a lot of people do that.
See, now for me, I like watching certain people do a story game. And I say that because I think they've got a good handle on how to deliver a good story game content. And that is that they have running commentary and they get invested in all the little minutiae that go along with the game. Right. That's not me. That's not I play a game because I want to see the mechanics. I wanna enjoy the gameplay of it. Like that's the reason why. If somebody's like, well, why do you play video games? I play video games because I like the mental challenge that solving puzzles brings. Right. I like sometimes quite frankly the out of box thinking that the developers put you through as you're trying to solve some of these puzzles using the internal mechanics that they have. I like the gameplay, whether that means that, hey, I like the fact that every time I jump, this guy does a backflip into a half gainer somersault, right? Like those are the things that I don't play for a story myself because I don't know of a good way to deliver that content. Because to me, I'm not excited by the story.
Right. And see, I would be excited by the story, but I feel that because I'm not again, I'm not versed in that part of the streaming world. I don't know how I could present it in a way that would be appetizing for people to watch.
I think you just start, right? But you're gonna have to have you need to. I think the first thing is you need to have an enjoyment in playing that sort of thing and doing that in front of people. And I appreciate you, Squirrel. I'm glad you enjoy watching me beat my head against puzzles. It's a good time. That's what I enjoy doing. That's or playing practical jokes. I love making practical jokes. Those are so much fun too.
And really, at the end of the day, the enjoyment is the whole thing it should be about.
Right. It should be about, you should be the one enjoying it. Because
Right.
I don't think anybody really wants to watch somebody who's not having a good time.
I think that's a general key of, I mean, really of everything. And I don't enjoy doing anything with other
Mhm.
people if they're not enjoying that thing. Like,
Right.
if you got to force yourself to do a thing with me, just don't do it with me. And just tell me. Like, I'd be fine. Like, if you're like, hey, I really don't want to go to this museum. Okay, cool. I'm still gonna go because I'm gonna really enjoy it. But if you're just gonna be a miserable ass while you're there, I would rather you not be there. Like it's I'm not gonna be offended.
Just
I
don't go.
know
Yeah.
not everything is for everyone.
No.
And
It's
I'm
not
okay
everybody's
with
cup
that.
of tea.
And that's an attitude I try to hold with all kinds of things. In that, if you're not gonna,
Right.
you shouldn't have to force yourself to do a thing
No.
because you're trying to, get something out of it when you know you're not going to. If you're not going to, that's fine. Just let me know.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like I like watching Squirrel do her cozy games. Squirrel, if you've ever watched her cozy games, gets
Yeah.
totally invested in what she's doing.
Yes.
And
Honestly,
every minutia of the game just is positive, happy, bubbly, laughy, giggly, whatever. And it's an absolute joy. Watching me play that same game would be a chore because I would bellyache and grump through the whole of it.
and I don't do. That's why I don't play a lot of cozy games. Is because there's no. I play No Man's Sky. When I play No Man's Sky casually, I'm in permadeath. Because if
Right.
there's no tension and there's no challenge, I generally don't get a lot of enjoyment out of it. And so cozy games aren't for me.
Right.
And I know that. I'm aware. I've tried some of them. I really want to like them. I really do. I don't. Now I've lurked in many of Swiss Squirrel streams when she's playing her cozy games, and I love watching them, and they are fantastic because she gets enjoyment out of them. She
Right.
really, really likes them, and that's great. I probably won't. Just saying.
Like, nope. Hard pass. Now, if you had to pick a game that you were going to spend the next 20 years playing and that was the only game that you were ever going to play again, is there a particular one that jumps to mind?
Final Fantasy Tactics.
Really?
Yes. Aside from maybe Skyrim, I've probably put more hours in Final Fantasy Tactics than any other game in my entire life. It's a game I play through at least once a year. I will run through and play that game to completion. It is
Interesting.
It is my number one favorite game of all time, and there's not really competition for number. Like if I had to list my top 5 games of all time, the list
Right.
gets real murky. But number one is always going to be Final Fantasy Tactics. I think it's the story, the gameplay, the mechanics, all of it are for me and the style and the games that I enjoy. It feels like it was written for me.
Right.
And so it is, yeah, that would be the game. If they're like, hey, you get one thing, it would be that one.
You would just play it over and over. Oh, that's fair.
Yep.
I mean, that was kind of the point of the question. I find it interesting, right? Because that tells me that you like the RTS strategy style games.
Yes, I love strategy games. Yes, and I'm chomping at the bit for February 11th when Civ 7 comes out,
Oh yes,
because I will be.
That's yeah. I thought that was supposed to be coming out soon.
Yes, it comes out next month, and I am already have it purchased, ready to go. It's gonna be. I'm gonna stream it for sure because
Uh-huh.
I love the Civilization games. RTS games and turn-based strategy games are some of my favorite games. I like all of those Firaxis style, City Skylines, SimCity.
Right.
All of those are games that I play a lot of. I don't play City Skylines on stream because my computer it's like Helldivers for you. My computer plays the game beautifully, but it won't stream it very well.
Yeah, it just dies. And you're
And
like,
I don't know why. And so,
yeah, it's
but
a
yeah.
Billy badass computer that will refuse to play this one little stupid game on stream.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, it won't stream it. I don't know why. But I'm very excited about that game. But yeah, Tactics is definitely my number one game. And if I was stuck with one game forever, that would be it. It's also because I'm old.
I first of all, I don't think you're that old. I think we're relatively close to the same generation.
You're probably right. You're probably
Let's hold back on that old batting around word just a little bit. I know I got a bit of gray in my beard, but come on now.
I don't gonna agree yet. Although I'm
Oh
a
yeah,
redhead, so
yeah.
I probably won't go gray. The red hair generally you can get away from grays.
I wish that were the case. I am a bit of a redhead, but no, I've got grays. It's showing up in my beard, though my beard's the only thing that holds on to the red anymore these days.
Yeah, my
The
beard is
rest,
definitely more red than my head. I used to have like your bright orange
right?
carrot top red hair when I was younger.
But well, we are coming down to the end, my friend. You have survived.
I have.
Time tends to disappear when you're having fun. It goes by pretty quick.
Yeah.
Serb, that is a good question. uh, as we wind down, though, last 15 minutes, you still have 2 more questions and a raid target to select for tonight's festivities. So that being said, we are into the end of, we're into the beginning of 2025. Wow, I am so used to talking about getting towards the end of 2024. Just to show you how habit that has become.
Yeah.
We have all of 2025 stretching out before us as this great big map of an ocean, so to speak. Any sort of like big stream plans, celebration plans, or anything else like that you want to call attention to, that you're like, hey, we're going to do this really cool thing, and don't you want to be a part of it?
I hit affiliate, which was my goal for last year when I started streaming.
Congratulations.
I wanted to hit
Right.
affiliate, and
Excellent.
luckily, Zoda and Squirrel raided me like 2 or 3 weeks in a row on Sunday after their Valheim stream, and got me.
Oh yeah, that'll
got
do
me
it.
there. Yep. And that was very much appreciated. It was very, very cool. I was so happy. So I will probably do a 1-year affiliate thing. Now that's to be later because that happened in July, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And so it'll be sometime there. I'm hoping to do a 100 follower celebration. When I hit 100 followers, I'll figure something out
Right.
to do there. I'm also hoping if I can finagle the creativity and whatnots, I want to try to launch some merch stuff. I've been told that there's certain people that like coffee mugs, so I'm gonna try and try and come up with a couple designs to throw out on some mugs or t-shirts. And so
we might know a few people that are a bit into coffee mugs.
Which I am too. My house has 2 cupboards full of coffee mugs, so
I see. You too would also be a coffee mug connoisseur.
yes. So I usually have one within reach of me, and I don't. But
fair. Well, those are exciting news, though. I mean, that's something to look forward to.
Yeah. Yep.
Again, this goes back to having things to look forward to makes time fly by. It gives you something to get excited about, and gives everybody something to be excited about. And who doesn't like a good party?
Right.
So there is always that, and that is a very good thing. Very good thing indeed. Oh, that's where that piece goes. Good job. just been slowly working on that one piece. I'm like, it's got to go somewhere over here. It doesn't. It goes over there.
I thought it was over here too. Well, I'm like I watched you try all the pieces, and then I repeated trying all the pieces, and I'm like, it's got to go somewhere.
Excellent. Oh, I just remembered something. Don't mind me. It's fine. I had a thought just jumped into my head, and I was right. I don't know if that's a good thing to be right about that or not, but I was right. And so I'm like, oh, I got to go fix that. So, beyond that, the only your last question of the evening. Now that you've been streaming a little bit, and you've had a bit of experience and some time and whatnot underneath your belt, and while none of us, I think, are ever going to truly be experts, we're all going to continue to faff about as we learn to get better at this sort of thing. If you had to go back and talk to an earlier version of yourself, or a brand new streamer coming up, whichever makes it easier to phrase the response, what would be that single piece of advice that you would give them, that you were like, oh, if I had just known that earlier, would have made my life so much easier as far as towards streaming? Right?
Find a community that was, because I started streaming originally in February of last year, and I probably had 2 months of just streaming to myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't reach out to people. I didn't do anything. It was just, I turned the camera on. That's it. I'd play the game. I'd talk to myself, and that was it. And then I didn't know what rating was. I didn't know any of that stuff.
Right.
And I decided that I was, clearly what I was doing wasn't working. So I did a little bit of research, and I mean, like, it took 5 minutes of like, hey, what's an easy way to grow a stream community without being, without paying for it, without being intrusive on people. And all the hints were like, start raiding out to people when you're done with your stream, even if it's just you. Find people that are playing the same games you like. And I had just ended playing some Valheim, and when I went to end my stream, I was like, you know what? It was the very first person I ever raided was Swift Squirrel when she was playing Valheim, and that was how I got introduced into the community. At random. It was literally I went to end my stream and I was like, oh, I should do this. I should find someone to raid. So I'm like, I should find someone that's playing Valheim. And actually, I don't think I was streaming to myself. I think Bombs Away was there. It was shortly after he had followed.
Right.
And I was like, I should find someone just to see what I can do. So I didn't want to raid into somebody with like 200 or 300 people, because then to me that felt like a desperate cry of, oh, here's the small streamer. I want everyone to pay attention to me.
Right.
And so I'm like, but I also didn't want to raid into somebody who had 0 viewers or 1 viewers, because that they clearly are in the same position I'm in. And I think she had like 10 or 12 people watching, and I popped in, and I was like, okay, this is somebody who clearly they're playing the game. They're way further along than I was. So I'm like, there's someone who knows the game. And so that's what happened. And from there, I got introduced to you and Zoda and the whole crew. And so if I would have
Squirrel's
done
a
that
gateway
sooner,
drug to the community. I see.
Yes. And I feel like had I done that sooner, one, it probably, because it boosted my confidence, being able to, actually have people to talk to and have people show up and things like that. And so I think I wouldn't have been so hard on myself. And I think that's the thing I would tell a new streamer is don't judge your performance by how many people watch you.
Oh yeah, absolutely not. You
'Cause
can't
that's what I was
judge
doing.
by you can't judge by how many people watch you because you don't know, right? Because there's how many people you have live watching you, but then there's also how many people go back and watch your VOD because not everybody can be there every time you're live and streaming.
Right. And yeah, that's part of like I very much was holding myself to the standard of if I'm only streaming to myself or maybe to one other person and they're not chatting, then maybe that they could be a bot, they could just be somebody who clicked on the button and walked away.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was very much judging myself on how many people were in that watch spot.
Right.
And I think that would be the number one thing I would tell somebody just get started is don't just click it off. Don't even pay attention to it. Just be you, be who you want to be, and stream the things you want to stream. Because it goes back to that. If you're not doing things that make you happy, people aren't going to want to watch you.
There you go.
And I think the judging yourself on that can do nothing but hurt your confidence.
Yes. There you go. There's the secret sauce.
Yes. And that you can drown in No Man's Sky.
Right. So for the record, so I've got this right here in my notes. Right. Get famous, raid squirrel. Got it.
Yes. That is the formula.
It's we tease squirrel, but honestly, we randomly raided into squirrel when squirrel had I think it was literally nobody there watching, or there may have been like one person watching squirrel when we raided in, and we found the Swiss squirrel, and they were playing Lens Island. I still think they regret not chasing a lot of us out as soon as we showed up. But it's been a good time. It has been a good nearly 3 years now. 2 years.
Wow.
2.5 years, something like that. It's been a while. One of those, you just sit back, hang around, and enjoy and have fun and laugh and giggle and.
It was a good decision. It was a smart move.
Get 2 and change. Yep. Okay, so got that on master list. To be famous, raid squirrel often. Got it. I wonder if we could like double up on our follower count and everything. We just kind of keep raiding squirrel over and over again. I tease squirrel like this, mostly because everything that she puts there in chat, I actually hear the way she's saying that. Like I hear verbally exactly like sir. Almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. But still an absolute good time. Well, DEF CON, this has been an absolute thrill and a pleasure. Thank you for taking your time out of your busy schedule to come out here and hang with us for this evening.
Oh, yes.
We have looked at all kinds and learned and met. We have learned all kinds of really interesting and fantastic things about yourself. Hi, Fox. Hi, Bull. Welcome in. So let's do the hang tight before we let you get out of here. We got a couple last business things we have to take care of. First off, there is now a heart that should be at the top of your chat screen. If it's not lit up, folks, I don't know how to tell you this. You've been here long enough. If it's not lit up, you are absolutely failing at life. You're doing it wrong.
Bully him good.
That's right. You should absolutely be smashing that button. Go catch the next time this gentleman goes live, and go have yourself an absolute delightful time with him. Well, we've had an absolute delightful time here this evening, so I can only imagine just how much more fun you're going to have during a live episode with him. I know I've been tuning into him, so ha! We do what we want. And just because we can, we also like to give a little taster sample. We should have some. There we go. Like there should be a clip. There it is.
Good. Find. So it's like kind.
It's a good clip. That was my first game back into No Man's Sky after like a 6-month break, and so they had changed a bunch of stuff.
That's not afraid of. It's clearly a turtle. You're right. Clearly a turtle. Where would you like to send this collection of fantastic individuals, my friend?
Do you want me to send it to you?
You can just type it in chat if you want.
Right.
Or if you know, if they're a name that I know, then you can just tell me who it is, and we can do it that way too.
I'm not sure if you follow them or if you know them or not. They're playing Valorant.
I do
right
not
now.
know Big Ton 90. I do not. So that's a good thing that you're stuck in there. You want to go where? Oh, yeah. I don't know that person. Okay. Well, folks, we are going to go make ourselves a new friend. Big Ton's a cool guy. Well, I'm down for new friends. I like a new friend. If you would, DEFCON, I'm going to have you hold on. We're going to go to the end screen. And we're going to say goodbye to all these people as we send them off on the way over there. So hang tight with me as we hit the end screen.
Okay. Streamer brain.
Yeah, I'm saying, what was I doing? That's right, hitting the end screen. There we go.
Oh, that was great.
That's right. Hit that button. That's right. That's exactly what we did. It's been an absolute thrill and a pleasure, my friend. Happy to have you on here. As we continue on through the rest of the year, we're going to alternative week for Talk Tuesdays, starting in February to be every other week. That being said, we are planning on doing a return to Talk Tuesdays on the interim weeks. So I may reach out to you and see if you got some free time later on. We'll try to pair you up with somebody and bring a couple of people back on to Talk Tuesday for another chat. If you've got time, it'd be a good time.
Absolutely. Yep. Just let me know.
Absolutely love it. Loving it. TTRD. You said Big Ton 90, huh?
Yes.
All right. Let's see if we did this right. There should be the raid messages. First one's for all of you fantastic subscribers. The second one's for all you fantastic followers. Whichever one you can use. Grab it, copy it, get ready to spam it. Let's go say hi to Big Ton 90. Oh, I love the fact that he's got a semi truck for his logo. Like, that's fantastic. It's a good time. It's a good time.
Yeah.
Again, thank you all for showing up for Talk Tuesday. It has been another fantastic episode. We've had another fantastic guest. Next week, Ali Cutie Pie. Should be pretty be a fun time. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I'll be in for that one too.
We still have like just a ton of absolutely phenomenal people coming up. It still surprises me yet. But if you want to say goodbye, we will send them on their way.
Yep. Thanks everyone for stopping in and having a chat with me. I've had a fantastic evening. It has been just absolutely a pleasure. Thank you very much.
And with that, take care, y'all. We'll see you next time.
Have a good night.